Typo Man does whatever a typo man can.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. I'm FuFuCuddilyPoof, and this is level 124. Joining me tonight is a normal crew of L.
Yo, what up?
Nate.
Hello.
And Corey.
Salutations.
There it is.
And show's
I
over.
don't want to confuse people. So
It's been a while.
Show has reached its new heights.
Yes,
Mwah.
yes, it has.
we are
Okay.
tall enough to ride the roller coaster. Get it?
Oh, so good.
The height joke.
Tall enough. Yep.
I see what you did there.
But I said it, so how could you see it?
I can see your words.
You can see little
Technically,
men. You can see little men running around in your background.
See, you guys... I am not
Why do you
watching
have
the
little men at
Ravens
home?
football game, if that's what you are insinuating. I don't know what you're talking about. We record on Tuesday. Everybody knows there's no such thing as Tuesday night football.
And you have a Christmas tree in the background with no ornaments on it and no lights. It's highly suspect. Very highly suspect.
The fact that you say suspect and not sus makes you sus.
Super
alien.
I'm 40-year-old man. Damn it.
What's your point?
Oh, I'm glad you brought up
Sus.
age. Anyways,
Yeah, my
Old
age is
people.
going up. What's going on?
I'll tell you later when I get the Game Pass.
It's the only thing that's going up for you.
Wow. There's a
Ooh.
pill
All
for
right.
that. All right, go.
And with that, let's get into the game showcase. Nate, what you got?
Well, I have been playing a little game called Submerged. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I started this back. I think I dove it for some reason. I can't remember why. Back in July.
Probably
To
because
put
it's
it
a
on your
game.
tag.
Yeah, probably. Back in July of 2018. And then I played it again in December of 2018. And then I left it alone for 2 years. So I picked it back up this week, and I had a lot of fun with this game. It's you play a girl, and you are basically trying to help your brother out who's sick. And or at least that's what I remember from 2 years ago, because I didn't watch the intro again. So this is my memory of how the game started 2 years ago.
Wait, you don't restart the intro after
No,
2 years?
why would I restart the intro?
Depends on how long it takes to get to that first save point.
So the first three achievements were use the postcard feature. So that would be really easy to redo. And it's not story related. Then visit all of the boundaries of the map. That wouldn't take too long, but you wouldn't have any motor improvements. So you'd be going at the slowest speed you possibly could. And then stay in the boat for a complete day-night cycle. So that's not really, there's really no reason
Sounds
to restart
easy.
for those three achievements. Or what I would have learned to accomplish those three. So you're basically, your brother is sick and you are trying to provide for him. You're in this city in the future, some dystopian future where some horrible thing has happened and the city is flooded. And
The
we're
day
talking
after
like
tomorrow.
New York type flooded. And, so if that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal or whatever it was, where New York floods and you are...
The day after tomorrow?
Maybe. We'll talk about that later. So you're in the city and you are basically trying to get him medicine or whatever. And there are these chests that are on these buildings, and you kind of are told to go get this thing. Doesn't matter which chest you get it from. Just as you open a chest, you get the next item that he needs. So you don't have to go to a specific place to get it. Just any one of these chests will work. It's primarily you're boating around the city to find, and you're finding things. You're finding boat upgrades. You're finding creatures. You're finding like photo spots, and those are your collectibles. And then when you're not in the boat, you're doing climbing puzzles. So these buildings are all basically just cliffs that you're climbing in various ways. You can go up and climb up pipes. You can climb up ledges. Some ledges you can stand on. Other ledges you have to hang from based on how wide they are. And that's it. That's the game. It's very relaxing. There's no combat, so it's great. If my daughter is around, like she can help me and we can play that game together. There's no combat. There's no fear of, oh no, I have to do this thing right now. There's no time-based anything.
Oh, what game are you talking about again?
This game is called Submerged.
There you go.
Now, I started playing it on my here. I was playing it on my series. No, not my series. My Xbox One X in my office, and the game was kind of slow. And then when I finished it off in the living room on the Series X. And if you have a Series X or a Series S, that is definitely the way to play it. Because the game is just faster. The camera just panning around is smoother. Everything about the game is better on the Series console. And I just thought that was an interesting point to bring up. But yeah, so I love this game. It's great.
I can see why.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it probably looks like a Nate game when you look at it.
It looks very pretty.
Yeah, and it got prettier on the series, so
I can imagine.
Yeah,
I can't, so I don't have one.
And the story is actually slightly compelling, and it's mostly just told through what you're seeing. You're not. It's not dialogue or anything. Really, you're just kind of watching the visuals and kind of figuring that out. But yeah, and let's see who has played this.
Absolutely 4 people.
Ah, decent amount.
There's
That's
people.
a lot of people's.
Yeah, some people have played this. I have 30 friends.
I have 82 friends.
I'm not bragging.
Whoa, that's a lot. More than I would have guessed.
Most people completed it.
Yeah, but I only have 23 people, including myself. I am my own friend who have completed it.
I think part of it is that it's like 4 to 5 hours, but it came out in 2015.
Well,
back before the time of 20-minute completions.
That's a good point.
Like 4 to 5 hours is a long time now for a subpar game.
The time
subpar.
How dare you? I just talked about how much I like this game. The time estimate is 4 to 5 hours. For some reason, my stats say 5 hours and 48 minutes. So I guess I'm above average. However you want to look at that. And where the hell was I going with that?
They say your memory is the first thing to go, my friend.
Right. So yes. So no, I was talking about the time estimate. You don't really need a guide for this. There is a walkthrough. But I played it pretty much without the guide the whole time. Certainly for like where to find things, you don't really need the guide, because when you get up high enough, you can pull out your spyglass and just kind of like look around the map. And if your viewpoint is near something, you'll kind of like see a little arrow in the bottom of the corner, or the corner of your compass, or your spyglass, and then you can focus in on it. And when you focus in on it long enough, the thing will be added to your map, and then you can go collect it later. So that works for pretty much all the collectibles, and even the chests, I believe. So when it came down to it, I needed the map, or I looked at the map at the very end of the game for like 4 collectibles, and 1 or 2, viewpoints that I had to visit. But other than that, I mean, it didn't really need the guide, and I would recommend not playing it with the guide.
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah. Like, it's a short game. There's not a whole lot to it. Like, just go explore and enjoy the city. So
these types of games are kind of like ours. Just go experience it, have fun with it, and then use the guide for collectibles and cleanup.
So you need to submerge yourself into it?
Yes, submerge yourself in the experience.
You were waiting for that.
Maybe.
Now, is there like a chapter select, or after you beat the game, you just kind of go wherever to get the collectibles?
Yeah, after you beat the game, it's just free roam. You can do whatever. And you don't have any of the story points you have to go do. You don't have to go find this thing and come back. I think you could, in theory, you could get everything, all the collectibles, and then do the story, because nothing really blocks you from going anywhere.
Not a veiner. Got it.
Yep.
Then yes, in that case, definitely just go play it. No reason to use the guide.
And the cleanup is fast, because by the time you have all the boat parts, you're just zipping around the map.
All right. Okay. Corey, I'm calling you next,
Yep.
and I want to hear about Monster Sanctuary. I'm very much interested in this game.
Well, I'm glad you asked because it is a Vayner. So yeah, now you have to play it, buddy.
Whoa.
So we mentioned
it's
this.
not a Vayner.
It's a vein?
Oh, it's a Vayner, and I'm going
is
to.
not.
I'm going
TA does not say that.
to. What? Not yet. Voting has not concurred yet. So I'm sharing my screen with you guys. I'm going to, talk it through for the listeners. But Monster Sanctuary is a Metroidvania. It has a beautiful Metroidvania map that is
There's a
sectioned
map.
out.
I was
Running around with a
I
good
stand
boy.
corrected.
And what you're doing in the game is you're obviously like saving the land, but you're doing so in a Pokemon style fashion where you get creatures or animals and you form a team. Through that team, it actually goes further than Pokemon, and this is all like 2D Metroidvania type style map. The artwork is beautiful, and it's so you can really lose yourself in how you build this and play it out. And it goes even further than Pokemon. Like they have eggs in here. I know Pokemon has eggs now. You don't have to walk to hatch these, but that's how you get new monsters. You can give consumables to your monsters, and they keep that buff until you roll it off. I think it's every 3. You can feed Pokemon, right? But it's like
No.
you can't. Okay, so there you go. It's better than that. It's obviously got your combat consumables. This is turn-based combat, so it's got your potions and your antidotes if you happen to get, poisoned or something like that. You can fix that up. The other part that I haven't really dived into is it has crafting, which I'm not big on crafting, and a lot of people know that. But it has crafting in it, and I haven't dived into it yet. But it just looks good. And there's other parts, and then there's the Metroidvania parts where you can explore the map after like the first section and get as far as you can in different parts. But you obviously are blocked until you get certain things. Like I'm showing the guys right now, I have the double jump boots. So there you go. Clue number
confirmed.
2 that Metroidvania is confirmed. I haven't unlocked every game or every location yet, so that's all I've gotten so far. But you're basically going throughout these maps. You're fighting the random enemies that appear, and I don't know exactly the formula, but they do it in a cool way to where it depends on how much of the map you explore. Depends on how much or how difficult the enemies will start to get, which encourages you to not skip fights. So there's that. But the levels of the enemies are also determined on when you get to them. And so different areas for different people might be harder or easier depending on when you got to that area. So that's pretty cool too.
So enemies scale with you.
They do, yeah. It's a different scaling that I've not seen before, but it's pretty cool. And then there's weapons that you can attach to the monsters, and that gives them different stats, like maybe their attack or the defense goes up or something like that. It's just pretty cool. And so I've been kind of hiding the back screen because I wanted to show you guys my team and what I've named them. And so I have this slime ball. His name is Blob Boy. These are like all like the starting animals that the first eggs I got because I just want to fill out my team. I got this cat with a sword. His name is Puss in Boots. The only animal that you start with is kind of like it looks like a legendary Pokemon, kind of. You get to pick between 4 different ones. I picked a lion that is fire element. His name's Firecat. I caught a bug that does like defenses and stuff. I actually use him a lot. His name is Fat Weedle. I got Rocky, who is just like this little plant dude, and I have this bird. Finally got a wind monster, and his name is Pidgey Wannabe. And so I'm having fun with this game, battling monsters. Like I said, it is turn-based, so you pick when you want to fight these monsters. You just approach them, and then you go into the fight, and you take your turns. The thing that I like about it probably makes me like a baby gamer, but after every fight, you regen health. You don't keep your status effects. You don't have to go and heal outside of battle. I kind of like that. It's less to maintain.
I don't like that.
But the artwork is so beautiful in this game, from the exploring to like their journaling. I'm going to show you guys now, but like this is some really sweet artwork in the
that's
journal,
really nice.
where you see like the bio of the animals and their abilities and stuff like that. It just looks really good, and they've spent a lot of time with this game. I think they've been working on it for 5 years. It's Team 17 published, so it has that ability to already be kind of a quality that you might expect. It is on Game Pass. We mentioned it last week, and it happens to have a Windows 10 stack that is on Game Pass as well. So if you really love it, you can play it twice. I'm showing the guys gameplay now. I just hit to a combat sequence. You always start with, you just pick 3 of the monsters that you have. So it could be any 3, and you can see the weaknesses and strengths of the monsters you're facing. And so you just go and you just go down the line and do your different moves. And there's a whole different combat system that I won't go into. It uses combinations on how many attacks you do and in what order. So once you start to learn that, you can actually become more efficient in your battling, and you actually get rated at the end of all your battles. The rating determines the loot that you pick up from it and different things like that. I don't know. I'm just having a really good time with it. And I don't do turn-based a lot. And like Pokemon is kind of like the only thing I do turn-based with. And so since this had that Pokemon kind of feel to it, I was immediately drawn to it. And I didn't even know it was a Metroidvania. That just happened out in the blue. And so I'm really glad I found it, and it came to Xbox. It's the perfect Switch game. It just came out on Switch as well. And so
this totally looks like a Switch game.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that it came on the Xbox. I was actually a little bummed because I was out of town this past weekend, and I had this game because I'm reviewing it, but it's on a review account, and I don't think that I don't even know if it was set up yet, but it is xCloud enabled. And so if now I could take my phone, and this is the perfect phone game, you know? You're just sitting there doing little turn-based battles. Maybe the platforming is not the best, but that's not the crux of the game. It's really the turn-based fighting. And so, yeah, it's a really cool game if you like turn-based combat.
Oh, skill trees.
And the Pokemon style kind of gameplay. And yes, it does have skill trees, so there is that management aspect is kind of as well. So I really am enjoying this game. I recommend it to pretty much anybody.
Yeah, this is a game that's very high up on my list that I want to play. I obviously love Pokemon. I love turn-based RPGs. TA right now is only listing this as an RPG platformer. They haven't given it the Vayner tag yet.
Yeah, I actually just voted for it, and I gave it platformer, Metroidvania, and turn-based. I did not know turn-based was a genre in TA, but apparently it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a genre.
So, yeah.
There's a lot of difference between... Nah, never mind.
So if any of that interests you, the game's called Monster Sanctuary. Just throw that out there again.
Yeah, see, the one thing, I know you like this. I know Nate's loves it as well, I'm sure, and maybe Elle. But, like, the graphics for me is kind of... not off-putting, but it's not like my favorite. Like, I don't look at this and go, "Oh my god, I want to play it," because of that.
So yeah, I do say that it's beautiful graphics, and it is. That is obviously, in the eyes of the beholder. But it's kind of got that, kind of like the Messenger style, maybe like
Time Spinner.
Time Spinner. That's probably a better one. If you've played Time Spinner, it's kind of like that. I love this graphic art style. It's not like too retro, you know.
Chasm.
It's definitely it's like a pretty I don't know, like NES game, NES side-scrolling game.
Maybe I think it might be a step above that, but yeah definitely in that area.
That's why I say it's just pretty. It's definitely not as...
Thank you, Nate. I'm sitting here the whole time
pixelated.
thinking this looks like Time Spinner, even down to the font.
Yeah, and just the terrain.
Exactly, everything. And I like Time Spinner a lot.
So yeah,
this looks really...
This is cool looking.
I actually just downloaded the Windows version, and I will be playing this twice. Definitely.
Now those skill trees, were they like do you have to like choose which way you're going, or can you literally collect them all and have all the skill tree filled out?
So this game is a Kickstarter game, and so there's been a lot of early access and stuff like that. So I've actually done a lot of research. Well, a lot of research like on Steam, and people have made guides and stuff. So I've tried to read about this stuff. That's where I learned about the leveling system. Based off that reading, I have not seen where you can get every skill. And in fact, there are special tokens, I think, or you can spend some of the currency. There's a way to reset your skill tree if you happen to, mess it up or not like it. So
that's not good.
That in and of itself tells me that you can't get all of the skills.
Right. Yeah, there'd be no need to respec.
Right. Yeah, right here. I have a consumable called a skill resetter. Real good name there. But yeah, resets the skill tree of a monster.
Looks like a time suck.
Oh yeah, I'm expecting this to be, at least 15 to 20 hours, but it could very well be a lot more. As far as the achievements go, you need to, most of them are story related based off what I could tell, evolving like a monster and defeating this monster and this monster and this monster. It has a couple of random stuff like getting a 25 times combo, defeating all the monsters on the first turn, upgrading 50 pieces of gear, stuff like that. So I think it's going to be definitely doable. Some of the harder stuff is, like I said, you get rated at the end of each battle. Well, there are certain monsters in these areas that you're trying to defeat to, save the area. They're called champion monsters. They're obviously harder monsters to defeat, and you have to 5-star all of those. But I think like just playing through the game, you're going to get most of this. One thing that I didn't mention, and I haven't actually looked into it yet, is that this game has PvP. You can battle each other.
Really?
Yes. You can battle each other.
Huh.
So
that makes me even more interested
I'm
in it.
expecting you, Fufu, to make a team, play this game, and me and you will do some battling.
And there's an achievement for PvP.
There is
Wait,
an achievement.
well, it's an ore.
Everything about this game is just like calling out to me right now.
Yeah. The other one that might be tough is obtain all monsters. But like I said, so far, you get these eggs. I've gotten eggs for each of them, but the game has a lot to offer.
All right. So going down the rabbit hole of the achievements, I see that the person who's in the lead has 15 he has 15 achievements left in the game. And this is pretty cool because it's doing time tracking. He's been playing for 12 hours and 31 minutes.
Nice.
So he's about halfway through in terms of the achievements, a little more than halfway through in terms of the achievements. And he's at like 12 and a half hours. And that is Dotting Town. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, Corey, when you first sent me the video for this, I actually thought it looked more like Monster Rancher, which I know you guys don't know about. But for those that do, it's basically just an old anime that had games on the PlayStation 2. And they were super good. I really enjoyed those games. And watching this, I'm just getting flashbacks of that game. Yeah. There's probably going to be like one or two people that actually listens to this that knows what Monster Rancher is.
Yeah, I definitely don't. That is interesting, Koosh. I'm looking at that person, and you said he has 12 hours. He's discovered 41% of the whole map. Just to put that in perspective, too.
Interesting.
There's 101 monsters. Wow, that's quite a bit for like an indie
number.
game. It is a very good number. All right.
So I can keep playing this, and you guys are gonna go with the show, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Go with the show.
Elle, what do you got for us for the game showcase besides singing? Because I don't think you've been playing Rock Band.
Singing Go with the Show. As promised last week, it is time to visit the third and longest point-and-click adventure, Grim Fandango Remastered.
Yay!
Come on, this one is the cream of the crop. Yeah, dig it.
Nate will be there with you.
This is actually
we
the only
old
one I have
people like
played.
this stuff.
Oh, it's the
You
one
have
he hasn't
played it?
played. Never mind.
This is the only one I've played out of the remasters. Yeah.
Oh, like in 1997?
Well, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but you stopped playing it after you got a dialogue mess up, right?
Yeah, I got distracted.
Oh, you didn't go back and finish it.
Mm-mm.
So the first thing you'll notice right away is this game has 48 achievements.
I actually didn't notice. I was wondering why they didn't just add 2 more.
I mean, it's not a bad point. 41 of them are labeled as missable on TA.
Ooh, jeez.
So
That's an interesting fact.
Most of them come down to dialogue trees. Some people in this panel might just spam through the dialogue or just skip conversations entirely. You should not do that. You should get everything you can out of this game because the dialogue is hilarious.
I don't know about that.
I mean, even Chewy on Ice likes this game, and he's got no sense of humor whatsoever. It's got this character, Glottis, who is just hilarious. He's this big monster guy, and I don't know. Everyone in this game is dead.
Is a lie.
And yeah, don't Google anything with Glottis in it. You shouldn't do that with save search off. You shouldn't do it. Just don't do it. So this game definitely has a different feel. When you check your inventory, you actually see your character going through your pockets. So you like scroll through in your pockets. The one weird thing about the game is that when you go walk around, your character looks, and where the character is looking is where you can hit A and look at. So if you want to look at a person, you have to make sure that the character's head is looking at the person. So it's a little tricky sometimes if the person is right next to an item. You might click on the wrong thing by mistake. So you just have to take your time with it.
Don't mess up.
Yeah, don't mess up. But as far as achievements go, I mean, right off the bat, we talked about this. The game forces you to play with the tank controls. So luckily, I played a lot of Resident Evil back in the day, so the tank controls are not bad for me. But I have a tip. Use the D-pad, not the analog stick. When you use the D-pad, it works as intended. When you use the analog, you're running around and going the wrong way, and it's a mess. I told this to Chewy recently, and it blew his little British mind. Use the D-pad. So once you use the D-pad, you'll see the game. This is the Glottis, I love you. So
that's very random.
I just love his name. One other thing that I noticed
GLaDOS better.
is GLaDOS. Oh man,
Is he epic?
we can go on and on about the epic GLaDOS.
All right, before you go
there.
on, I have to ask a question.
Yeah.
In recent weeks, pretty much since these games came out, I keep hearing tank controls a lot. Like, what does that mean in games?
Okay, so what it means
We've
is
driven a tank, right?
Obviously not.
it basically
that
means
was
if
my
you're-
first thought.
It basically means if you're controlling someone, you hit up and you're. What have you played? Have you played like in a Telltale game, right?
He's played Tank Battle, right? Like that.
Up tanks and
Wars.
demons.
Basically, if you pull the stick down, the character walk down. If you pull the stick up, the character walk up. In a tank control, you have to turn your character completely around before you can start walking forward again. So like a real person
that
would
kind of
do.
sucks. Do you do that with
Does that
the
make
right
sense?
stick with the camera?
Mm,
You can't not
just
move the
no.
camera.
You have to use the D-pad.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's a fixed camera
Use
system.
Yes.
It'll make sense once you do it. That's how the old Resident Evils were. And the Resident Evil games, you had to manage shooting things on top of.
Yeah,
This
like shooting where you can't even see when you switch camera views.
Yeah. This game definitely shows its age, but it definitely shows a lot of innovation as well. The graphics are really good. This is going to make no sense, but it reminds me a little of Final Fantasy VII. So like how the backgrounds are kind of lively and intertwined.
Yeah, that
this
makes
game,
sense. I don't know what you're trying to get at.
Yeah. Just the backgrounds are nice.
Well, if I remember,
Are you
actually,
talking about how like the backgrounds are like drawn and
Yeah.
kind of move on it?
Yeah, something like that.
but also when you start the game, it starts in like the classic mode, right? It's like if you want to see the good graphics, you have to switch.
Honestly, this is the one of the 3 games where if you hit the back button to look at the graphics, there's not much of a difference with remastered and regular. It's still
it looked better to me.
It's still in 4:3 screen
aspect ratio.
They didn't do much with the graphics, honestly, and the sound quality is also not very good compared to the other 2. It's still like the old CD-ROM sounds.
So what you just said about hitting the back button, is this kind of like Halo's 1 and 2 on a Master Chief Collection, where at any point you can hit the button and see what it looked like?
Exactly.
It's
instant too. Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay. That is one feature that I wish every remaster had.
Yes. So the Monkey Island games did this, and not only do you see the graphics, but you can play the game the way it was meant to be played also. So you can move the cursor to look and use and find. But Grim Fandango is just graphic. It's like a graphics facelift only. And these faces, let me tell you, are dead. They're grim.
Fandango?
Some Grim Fandango trivia.
Get that.
You will, if you play a ditty called Guacamelee, you will see Grim Fandango on one of the screens in the background. So I'll point that out to you at some point, my Guacamelee friends. Yeah, so overall, and I'll give Fug a conniption right now. So Fug always says it's weird when I play Simul with Michelle. So I did Day of the Tentacle and Full Throttle with Michelle and her brother, Brian. Grim Fandango, I have done with Michelle, Brian, and MDP. We are playing 4-player simuling this game.
I just find it cute
really
that you
interesting.
You have a word for it.
Going together, using the TA walkthrough.
They do it enough, they need a word for it.
And we are all laughing hysterically together. So it's a good time.
It's like watching like a 6-hour movie together.
So in this hive mind, who's the one that decides what action you take?
Yeah, who gets the guide duty?
Believe it or not, I'm in charge.
Oh, no.
That's why it takes so long.
They're all there with the guide in hand too, just double checking things. But I'm basically reading what's going on. And it's a little hard because I tend to like to hit the X button first on everything to examine the items before doing what the walkthrough says. So if the walkthrough says to go right, I will go left first and start trying to see everything that was.
Mm-hmm. This guide.
All the little... It's hard to explain, but basically I want to see everything the game has to offer. And there's a lot of quips and one-liners that he says when you click on stuff. So
yeah, you don't want the optimal path. You want to experience it.
Yeah, exactly, right. So I want to... without a guide, I can't imagine solving many of these puzzles. Even with the guide, some of these things were hard to do. Because there's also some non-pointing clicky parts where you have to get things exactly right. But overall, I once again recommend Grim Fandango. I know there was a lot of talk a couple weeks ago on the Tales of the Borderlands segment for funniest Xbox game. This one ranks right up there. It is hilarious. The characters are memorable. The situations you're put in, just a rockin' time. I have a little more on this later when it comes to some contests. But in the meantime, I'll kick it over to Kenneth. Kenny, I know you played some Gears 3, right? You knocked that game out? Finished it up?
Oh,
finished the trilogy?
Totally. Knocked the entire trilogy out. I saw the ending.
Oh, no, Kenny.
All the group of 4 Gears, they went at it, beat the big bad guy.
You saw them all drown at the end?
Anya was a big war hero. Marcus gets to drive the float. And Cole was in charge of confetti.
I think you're a little confused.
Oh, yeah, right. Wrong exclusive. Oh, God, no. So, you guys remember last week when I was sitting there saying, I feel like I'm going to be able to play Gears 3. I'm going to have a good gaming weekend. Probably stay up late on Friday, play some stuff. Saturday, I should have all day to play. Yeah. I totally just jinxed myself. I didn't get to do none of that. So, essentially, I wound up babysitting Saturday.
Like real babies?
No, not real babies. That would be awful.
Yeah, don't do it if you could avoid it.
We had
they definitely
family.
Don't have a baby.
No,
yeah,
don't.
That would be the worst. God, who would want to do that? So we had family and friends over Saturday for something Brooke was doing. She was having some jewelry party, stupid thing, I don't know. And everybody decided to bring their kids. Well, they brought their kids, and then they didn't want to let their kids be a part of it. So they're like, how about they just go downstairs with Kenny? I don't want, no, bad idea, no. So I didn't want to play Gears 3 because I wanted to experience the game by myself, alone. So instead, I played a little bit of Assassin's Creed 2.
What kind of Rule 34 Gears are you looking at?
With the lights off, little mood music.
Never mind. So I played not Gears 2. See what you do. I played some of the Assassin's Creed 2. So like I said last week, I bought the Ezio collection. And since I've already played Assassin's Creed 2, when did I say I beat that? Back in 2009, I think it was when I got my last achievement. I'm like, you know what? I want to jump into this series. Let me just play this. Even if they're talking and asking questions, it's no big deal. Which, on the plus side, I got to spend time with my nephews and their cousins. So it's just like, and we all, they all watched me play this game. So there was some family time, but at the same time, go away. I want to play Gears.
You've got to tell them there's a 9-year-old game you need to get to. You need to tell them, get out of the house.
I did play some Gears later on. I got about an hour into Gears 3. So.
All right, that's not bad. It's an hour more than you had.
I'm giving you to the end of the year to complete the series.
Series or the trilogy?
Yes. The series.
Every game ever.
I might be able to beat that series. As long as 4 and 5 doesn't get stupid long, I think that might be doable.
Does that include tactics and pop?
Oh, yeah.
God, definitely not. Okay, so Pop I've already uninstalled.
Why?
I was looking at that game and I'm like, I know I'm not going to get any more achievements. Gears Pop was always on my phone, even if I wasn't playing it, and I wasn't super into it. I at least logged in daily to unlock or to collect the free stuff. But it got to the point where I was looking at my achievements. I'm like, I'm not going to get any more of these. I just have no real desire and to get some of the more easier ones to obtain. And also just flat out, I'm not good enough to get gold. I'm not good at the game.
Oh, come on. You're good.
So I am I there's no reason for me to keep logging in daily to get the collectibles. I'm never going to be able to get to level 20. I'm not going to be able to max out a pin. Even if I played it non-stop, I don't even think there's time for me to be able to get that. So I'm just uninstall the game. There's no point. So Gears Pop, I'm done with. Gears Tactics, I would love to be able to finish that before the end of the year, but I don't think I will be able to. But as far as the console games, I'm very much trying to get that done before the end of the year.
I believe in you, FuFuCuddilyPoof.
Yay, somebody does. All right. Nate, let's kick it back to you.
Speed round.
With some game that Corey also wanted to hear about.
Sure. This game is new to Game Pass. It's called Call of the Sea. It just came out today, which is, if you're listening, it's a few days old.
I remember seeing this trailer when you did that indie thing.
Yes. We were very excited for this game. It was one of the ones that I was really looking forward to, just because it looked really polished. And guess what? The game is very polished. Yes, it's quite polished. Yes.
Oh.
Insert Corey's commercial right here. So from the very beginning, his Polisher's commercial.
That's a call, man.
So, so from the very start of this game, you're dropped in literally into a dream, and you are swimming. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but you're swimming through this dream. And what I first noticed is, number one, the game looks great. I was playing it on the series. No, actually, I was playing this on the 1X, and looked good. Looked really good on the 1X. I haven't tried it on the Series X yet. I'm imagining it's better. But as you're swimming forward, your hands kind of like do like the breaststroke. And then I was like, oh, let me look over to the side. And I noticed that the hands started like swimming as you would if you were looking to the side and kind of leaning over and looking that way. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try backwards. And sure enough, I start, going backwards, and like now she's like pushing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're taking into consideration in this tiny portion of the game.
Your mind was blown.
That isn't the main part of the game, because the game takes place on land. They paid attention to that. And I'm just, at that point, my expectations were set for like, okay.
That actually is a kind of a cool little feature to think about.
Yeah. And like, there's a lot of things to look at in this stream too, as you're going through. And since there's no oxygen meter, I recommend you just kind of take your time with it. But I was really kind of blown away. The other thing that got me about this game is at the very beginning, they're kind of speaking kind of like mumbo jumbo. And then the very first intelligible word they say, is Nora. So they pulled me in, and they spelled it correctly. They spelled it with an H. So I was like, oh my gosh, expectations super high. But yeah, the game is really, interesting. It's really pulling me in. It seems really well polished. It reminds me a little bit of Firewatch, which I never completed, but it's got that kind of narrative where you're being pulled through. You're getting a lot of story, from the main character. She's kind of talking to herself. There's a lot of things to look at, and you'll get more and more story as you open these items and click on them, and then you can like rotate them and get more story that way. There's no action, so it does seem like you can kind of take your time with all these puzzles. I have gotten to the second area. So I did the prologue. There's a little prologue, very short, one room. Then there's a level, level 1, which has a lot of rooms you can kind of go through and a couple different puzzles for you to solve. And then you progress on to level 2. So I've just started level 2, and I am really enjoying this. I am really looking forward to it. I have not used the guide yet. And I then started it on the PC, because guess what? This is also on Game Pass Ultimate for PC, and it's a stack.
Hey.
Yeah.
So
I started playing it.
Wow. Games, 2 stacks each.
Yep. I started playing it on my totally underpowered PC, and because I'd done all that on the Xbox, I just flew through that first level super fast, and I started to load into the second level, and the game crashed. So I think it has to do with my PC being so underpowered. So I kicked everything down. Yeah, I kicked everything down to the lowest settings, and it keeps crashing. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm hoping that they'll push out an update, and I don't know. I don't really want to buy a new PC on a clock.
You might need You might need to call for a new PC.
Yes.
Have you checked
all of the PC? I get you.
Have you checked the achievements for this game?
I've glanced at them, and they seem, I don't want to pay too much attention to them, but they do seem like they're progression based along with a little bit of fun.
Yeah. So, Nora comes up a lot, just to say that.
Yeah. Well, that's the main character's name. Yeah. So yeah, you'll see it.
Yeah. There's one though, that the description stood out, and this is a secret, achievement. So I don't think you're going to hate me, but if you do, that's okay. This one's called Fawning Developers. It's the name of the achievement. And it says, the description is, we know it. We are the teacher's pet. In capital letters, buy all Raw Fury games. I love it. Subliminal advertising.
That's great.
Definitely. A little advertising for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to play this game.
I was watching a video for this. I don't know what's going on. Like...
This is probably a FuFu game.
That's a good point. I should probably tell you what the story is.
Yeah, I just watching a trailer, I don't have a sense of what's going on.
So you play as Nora. Your husband has gone off in search of a cure for your family affliction. Like, apparently in your family there is something that curses everyone, where you have like mottled, blotched skin, and apparently difficulty walking or something like that.
Well, this is like the 1930s, right?
Yeah, this is set in the 1930s. So your husband goes off exploring to this island off of Tahiti to...
I hear it's a magical place.
Yeah, I get you. Coulson.
I'm so glad somebody got that.
So he's gone. He has not returned. You've heard nothing from him, and Nora is going out to find her husband. And when she gets to this island, she suddenly feels better. So something about this location, it's a magical place, and it does kind of rejuvenate her, and she's able to start being more mobile. And so who knows what's going to happen. I'm only trying to get to the second chapter on the PC, and I'm ready to load it up on the Xbox. But my expectations are set. I like the immersion of this game. I like how good it looks. Yeah, great add to Game Pass.
Good on you for picking
very good.
2 games with the female protagonists. Nicely done.
Well, that's how I roll.
That's what you do.
Hey, you can pick a boy or a girl in Monster Sanctuary, and on my Windows playthrough, I just started a girl. And in Fogs, I made one of my dogs a girl.
Fogs.
Now, in super brief, I'm gonna throw in a third thing. This is a bonus. The Song of Iron demo is out. There's no achievements to this. It is a game I've been looking forward to. I don't know if it was on a showcase or not. This game looks great. It plays. It's a demo for a reason. It needs a little bit of work, but it shows a lot of promise. Like I said, no achievements. You can play through all the way to a boss battle. Once that boss battle is over, the demo is over. And that you can choose to play as a boy or a girl as well.
Oh, I like this.
Yes, I love the look of it. And I think you guys should check it out. And if you think it looks interesting, you should wait to play it because it shows promise.
All right.
That looks sweet. Yeah.
And Corey, what's the other game you got?
All right, we're going to go through this quick, right, because we're going long.
Doubt.
Landflix Odyssey. So this is the game I streamed the previous week, and it's a platformer, and the story is like you're Larry. Your name is Larry, a boy. You can't pick a girl, Elle. I'm sorry. And your remote dies, and you have to put in batteries, and you find these batteries under your couch, and they're radioactive. And then you're transported into your TV, which you're watching Landflix
by a radioactive battery.
This is an Adam Sandler movie, right?
I hope that he does the adaptation, but you're watching Landflix, right? So obviously it's a spin on Netflix, and you have to traverse these different shows through different platforming levels. They have 9 or 8 levels each, and then you're trying to get the good batteries back because your scientist uncle split into an evil scientist or something. I don't know. It got real convoluted. I didn't follow it. I was just there for the platforming, and it delivered. Now, the shows that it's parodying are The Walking Dead, the Breaking Bad is there, Game of Thrones, Daredevil. There's one more. And it's
Power Rangers.
The Bachelor.
So close. Oh my gosh, what is it? It's probably the one I played the most too.
Terminator.
Golden Girls.
No.
WWE.
Stranger Things. That's what it is.
Stranger Things.
I didn't play the entire game yet, but I played all of the Stranger Things one, and I played at least one level of each of the other ones. And you get coins throughout the levels. You need to use those coins to unlock other episodes, and you go from there. And I know at least in the Stranger Things one, they had a gimmick of the upside down. And so the other stuff had different gimmicks, like The Walking Dead, you get a gun, because there's no guns in Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
So, they each have their own feel and flavor, and I love that. And the story's funny. I love parody stuff anyways, and I love platformers, and this one is a straight 7 or 8 out of 10 on it, just its platforming. So I'm there for that. I recommend Landfix Odyssey if you like either platformers or parodies. That's me.
$15.
See, I'm going I'm not thinking about price a lot. That's a little much if I were to think about it. $10 would be the ultimate sweet spot, but in a game, it does its platforming well, and that is enough for me.
From the videos I've watched and watching you stream, 15 doesn't seem outrageous.
I was watching you stream this, and you said at the very beginning it was a little floaty.
Right. It's a little floaty, a tiny bit. Like the Messenger is better than Landflix Odyssey, but Landflix Odyssey is better than Foxyland 2.
Oh, I hope so.
Everything is better in
gosh.
Foxyland.
Hey, they have dessert possums.
Dare you? It's a modern
When the
class.
jump button only worked 80% of the time. Yeah,
Terrible
okay.
game.
I
hated
did,
Foxyland.
I did say on stream that I thought it ate some of my input, some of my jumps. But some of that could have been on me. I don't know. You know how it is. There was one section, there was one level that was like an auto scroller kind of level. I was in a vehicle and all you could do is jump. I had a time or two with that level, but we got past it. And we continued on. And yeah.
Well, it does sound,
Landflix Odyssey.
as you're describing it, it does sound like there's a lot of variety, and that would keep the game feeling fresh. Even though
It does. Like I said, 8 or 9 levels per show. There's special features that you lock. I think there's probably 5 levels there, one for each show. You get like an extra level. And none of the levels take too long from start to finish. So it's probably going to be like, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be categorized as 4 to 6, maybe 6 to 8 hour. Well, it's probably not 6 to 8 hours. Probably 4 to 6 hours on TA. You have to get all the coins, so it's like you have to collect everything. And there are secrets in the levels, but I found something on stream where it's like you could definitely tell where the secret areas are because they put like a random icon on the wall and it made it super obvious. But what are you gonna do? But yeah, I like it. It's good.
All right. It's good. Well, let's move on from the game showcase. Let's do something a little bit different this week. All right. So take the script, rip it up. Who cares about it? So we're talking about games. Let's stick with talking about games. Let's scroll down a little bit to contests. Let's get into the 12 Days of Christmas. Obviously, this is the most recent TA contest that's out right now. Elle, why don't you go into it? What have you been playing? Any highlights of the games you've got?
What are the days? Can you tell me the days?
Sure. I guess I can tell a day.
You got to sing it though.
I'm not. You can sing it. You're the singer on the show.
We're currently on day 8, so we know 8 days.
I wouldn't do that.
I'm not a singer.
On the first day of Christmas.
No.
True achievements gave to me.
I like that, Corey.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to start from the beginning. Last week, we started up with the first day of Christmas was an Xbox One X Enhanced Pop. And I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one that popped a Cake Bash achievement during our stream last week as our number 1 achievement.
Right, it definitely wasn't Kenny who didn't sign up. But yes.
Nope, Kenny did not sign up.
Damn it,
for
Kenny. And then day number 2 was 2 brawling fights, which was 2 achievements in the beat 'em up, hack and slash, or fighting genres. Our very own NBA Kirkland said, you know what? Is anybody else combining 12 Days of Christmas with RTDL lists? So I'm like, oh, sign me up.
This just in. Ravens beat the Cowboys 34-17.
Go
All right,
Sports.
continue.
Yay! Screw you, Cowboys. Do they still have Tony Romo on the team? I don't know. So,
sure. All right, back to you, Al.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I went ahead and went to my hardest achievement on my RTDL this week. And by hardest, I mean highest ratio and not the hardest at all. It is in Killer Instinct called Orchid Chosen One, and what you got to do for that one is play 200 matches as Orchid. So what you can do
Sounds terrible.
So you can set it to the hardest difficulty and just get beat up and just keep hitting A to rematch over and over and over. Or if you have a nephew, makes life a little bit easier. I do not have a nephew. I have more like a stepson.
You have like a cousin twice removed.
Yes. I actually did. You could stream. You can't stream on the Series X, which sucks. So I streamed from my 1X to my Surface and used the HoriPad to turbo the A button and got that one done, along with another Killer Instinct Achievemento. Anybody else do their day 2?
Battletoads.
Oh, I want to say...
I actually did Battletoads because it was on my RTDL list, but I didn't get my RTDL achievement in those 2, so I just left it.
Well then. You seem dedicated to that RTDL.
I mean... I got one.
I used Castle Crashers Remastered and Streets of Rage 4. Just
good choice.
Just easy ones to get.
I mean, Castle Crashers is an overrated piece of crap, but Streets of Rage 4 is awesome.
How dare you?
How dare you, sir?
I mean, I know it reminds you of a Power Ranger, so that's why you love it, Kenny. Ugh, such an average brawler.
It does?
Day 3.
No, it doesn't. 3 old games. So for this one, you needed to play 3 Xbox 360 games, which I'm sure people complained about because people suck. I wound up using Minecraft 360, Life is Strange 360, and the one I was excited to get back to was Alice Madness Returns. I will hopefully be able to talk about that one in the next week or two. Finally going through that campaign. I started it 3 years ago. Finally got back to it.
This one happens to be the only one I want to talk about. It's my most interesting day.
Xbox One enhanced.
You want to hear it?
Well, I was just going to say quickly that it's on Game Pass now with Xbox Play, so I would check that game out. But go ahead, Corey.
All right, like I said, this is the only day that is interesting in my entire list. I decided to go against the grain of the people complaining, and I started. I don't do a lot of 360 games. I started 3 360 games just for this day. Batman Arkham Asylum Gotti Edition.
Yes, Corey.
Hey.
Yes, Corey.
Batman Arkham Origins. So this was sent to me by Skeptical Mario earlier this year, so I got that. And then the last one, I put on my big boy pants, and I bought a brand new game just for this. Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate Edition, Blackgate Deluxe Edition, which is a Vayner, just like Arkham Asylum. So 2 Vayners on the 360 are now on my tag, and I'm actually really looking forward to playing that 400-pointer next year.
Yeah, I jumped the gun.
What?
I thought that's the one you were talking about. That's the one I'm proud of.
Oh, yeah. You should have just done Symphony of the Night at that point.
I already started
them
that.
big
I already started that.
on.
I already started that, and it would have took me like more than 10 minutes to get the next achievement in there.
Right.
And I've been meaning to buy this Blackgate game. Koosh has praised it. I've been watching it for 2 years. It's not gone on sale.
Never goes on sale. Yep.
I might as well go ahead and get it before they take it off the store and 360 blows up. I don't know.
This just in, it's on sale. No, it's not on sale.
Well, I'd buy you a copy.
Nate, did you do anything for this?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I did. Castle Crashers, original, and did some Sacred Citadel and some Battle Block Theater, all backwards compatible. So did not fire up the 360, did it all on the X1.
Oh, man. I like Sacred Citadel. And Castle Crashers was actually interesting that you could save your data from that and move it to the Castle Crashers.
Yes, remaster. And I seem to remember getting farther with characters than I actually did. So I was like comparing the two. I was like, really, my highest level character is the Red Knight, and he's only like level 20 or something, not super high. So,
and Battle Block Theater is another
overrated game.
Overrated game.
No, sucks.
It's fun game.
I wouldn't say overrated.
You need skill.
I'd say it's fine.
Don't listen to Ken. He's never heard of it.
I'm only saying that because Elle likes Battle Block more than Castle Crashers.
Oh,
I definitely do, as far as Behemoth goes.
I've only played a little
was that
bit
on
of Battle
purpose?
Block. I've never like played it.
You should have picked all Behemoth games.
No, they weren't all Behemoth games, but they were 2/3. But no, it was just they were there. I already had them installed, and they were backwards compatible. So
You love to see it.
You love to see it. Day number 4 was 4 achievements that do not have guides, which is the funniest one because
I love this one.
because this one can change as it goes. People writing guides can change the tide.
But you can't. Once you unlock it, it's locked in.
Once you unlock it,
can't-
you're good.
Yeah,
Yes, that is
it's
true.
fine. It's only done
so I
if you
noticed-
play something like a long game, like Gardens and Gnomes or something. I don't know.
so get yours and then comment on it. So
I mean, that would be the good Samaritan thing to do.
Mhm,
Fill
help everybody
TA
else
with
out.
walkthroughs and guides.
With guides, yeah, it's not a bad thing to do.
That's
a
the whole
spiteful
reason
thing
I
to
came
do.
to this site.
It's not a spiteful thing to do unless you're debt dealers.
That's my
and you're
deal.
and you're going through her whole list and just putting random solutions to anything she needs. No, wouldn't do that. I noticed that I needed to complete Area 1 of Journey Mode in Tetris Effect. That seemed easy enough without a guide. And I got that one, and on the way I cleared 1,000 lines, and I achieved player level 10. So easy stuff without a guide. And then I noticed that day 5 had one for 100 pointers. So I have what are they called? The ARC games? ARC systems?
Arc system works.
Oh, wow.
Okay, then.
No,
Yes, so
no voice modulator there.
Oh, you gotta turn on reverb, don't you know?
Don't you know?
Turn on
What are you from
reverb
Canada?
and hey, don't you know? That's Minnesota. You gotta change your background and your avatar and invite someone to a private match and see
Your day 5 looks like my day
And that's
5.
it.
And my
That's
day
all you
4
need to
because
do.
those are so
Well,
easy they don't need guides.
Well, I noticed that Double Dragon 3 didn't have guides for any of them either, so I used them for that game for day 4 and day 5. Going back to day 4, did anyone else use anything different for 4 that need a guide?
I did Cold Silence.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did this brand new
game
achievement.
is a classic.
Really hard. Yes. So I totally
turn on the
cheesed those.
game.
Turn on
hit
the game.
start.
Start on easy. Okay, no. Okay, turn off the game. Start on hard. Okay, do insane. Yeah. So I got 4 super cheesy ones, and moved on to day 5. And on day 5, I played a little game. You may not have heard of it before, but it's called Submerged, and that game has a lot of 100-point achievements. So
Sounds vaguely familiar.
yeah.
Does it have a female
so
protagonist?
I submerged myself in that game.
Ah,
and,
good one.
and
I like that.
Yeah, got 5 100s.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Corey, you said you also used ARC Systems game?
Yeah, day 4, day 5, no guides, and yeah, they're all 100
Awesome.
pointers, and they take about 5 seconds, so
All right.
that's what it did.
So for
Maybe not
So
that
for-
long.
So, 6, pick your platform. You have to pick 6 achievements that are Xbox Play Anywhere. So this is one that got me. I planned it
Why?
out. Well, I'll tell you why.
This is what you're all about.
I'll tell you why. I planned it out.
Tell me why.
So my next Grim Fandango session, I would nail this one. I would get 6 achievements in that
I
game.
just love
which
how
I
you
did.
have
a
a
word for that?
session for Grim Fandango.
Hey, what's the word
Well,
for
It's the weirdest thing.
You simuled it. You had a simul session.
Simuled it.
We did, all right, and we have a chat room for it, and we post pictures and videos and,
Duck pics.
and maybe. So long story
No,
short,
it's Grim Fandango. They're all dead.
long story short, they did not count as Play Anywhere for reasons unbeknownst to me. Apparently, in the Microsoft Store, it is not listed as Play Anywhere. Full Throttle
That's
is. Day of the
strange.
Tentacle is. Yeah,
Ha.
Is it the Xbox
so-
Store or is it TA?
the Microsoft Store.
Oh,
So I guess they go
okay.
based on what that says.
So
It did
that,
not-
that would tell me that the saves don't transfer.
I believe they do, and it's misleading.
Oh, well then, yeah.
I did not check it myself.
That's just a little snafu then.
There's no reason why 2 of them would work and 1 of them wouldn't. So that sucked. But the good news is it got me to go back to something I've been meaning to get back to for a while, which is Forza Horizon 4. And
Great game.
I did. That game has a measly 169 achievements.
That's already been updated today.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
we got
right. You're right.
9 new ones today.
Oh, so that makes
What?
over 170 achievements.
That's 169 plus something. I don't know.
It has that many. What?
I thought it was 9. I thought it was 9 new ones. Yeah.
You thought I was kidding? It's not. It's really that many achievements. And so I did some basic
God,
ones.
It has 178 achievements.
Yep. I did some basic stuff in that game, and that is the last day that I got up to. Nate, what about you?
Yeah, the last day I've completed so far is day 6 as well, and I used Samsara. That game, if you don't actually want to do the puzzles, is super fast because you can just look at a screenshot and solve the puzzles or whatever. There's a whole bunch of easy stuff that you can get too. I think there's like 3 achievements that are like pretty easy to get once you get to a particular level. I think it's the 4th board. But no, I was taking a little break. And I just use this as kind of like an aperitif for my brain between sessions of work. And I got stuck once or twice. There were like some concepts that I hadn't quite grasped since the last time I played this. So I was just like, So I did refer to a guide once or twice to get, like a technique primer. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. So that's the type of thing I can do to solve these types of puzzles. So,
Nate,
but I gave them all an honest try. Yeah,
Nate, you just blew my mind.
Aperitif.
In Grim Fandango.
Oh, okay.
Glottis is not the smartest character, but he mutters the word aperitif, and I just lost it. I haven't heard that word in a long time, and now I heard it twice in a few days. So
Oh, okay.
you need to play this game. Just play it. Enjoy.
I have played
Love it. No, not with your 15-year-old self. With your now self. You'll get more out of it. Get more out of it.
I played one
Samsara. Yeah. Did you get through a whole year?
Yeah, I'm at the very end of the first year. I have to do like 2 more conversations or something.
Okay, cool. Samsara, yeah, that's the best walkthrough there is. You just look at screenshots and you copy it. Yeah, there was word going around today that apparently I'm known for not using guides. I use guides all the time in walkthroughs. I complain about it, but I do use other people. But I looked at those screenshots myself like a big boy. I did play Samsara on my Surface because that one I just used the touchscreen and it was nice and easy. So I recommend that one too. That's a good one. That was a good pick, Nate. Did you say what you used, Corey?
I did my favorite thing, and I started a new game, Gears Tactics. Now that I'm done with Mutant Year Zero, let's keep on this real-time strategy train.
Mini Bean Dive?
Mini Bean Dive, yeah. Because the Arc System Works were brand new games, too. I kind of wish for the first 2 days I would have used a brand new game, and then I would have just had brand new games every day, but it wasn't in the cards. But, yeah, Gears Tactics is now my tag.
12 Dives of Christmas.
I know, right?
All right, and as it stands, we have day 7 is called 7 Don't You Miss These. So catchy. Well, whoever came up with these, brilliant. These are 7 achievements flagged missable. Of course, this is after going through Grim Fandango with its 41 missables. Thanks. But I'm sure I could find something somewhere. Day 8 is 8 achievements from games that have walkthroughs. That should be easy enough. Plenty of games on TA have walkthroughs.
Probably Grim Fandango.
Grim Fandango, yes. Yes, that one I used the Xbox walkthrough. Unlike the other 2, I used the PlayStation walkthroughs. This one got a nice shiny Xbox One. It's worked pretty good so far. Got to go with the home turf.
Man, it's too bad we don't know what day 9 is. It's revealed in 5 hours.
If you had to guess.
Through the magic of editing, 5 hours happens. And now we know it. If I had to guess, though, I would probably say it's a spelling challenge, because we haven't had one of those yet.
Oh, yeah?
I think you're wrong. What would you possibly be spelling?
I bet you they picked a Christmassy word.
Well, they definitely would have revealed it after the first few days of the G-Test spelling competition where I'm spelling A through Z. And they definitely wouldn't pick another word like mistletoe where I have to get an MISTLETOE. But they did, and you have to spell mistletoe. Don't ask me what I'm going to use yet because I don't know.
What are you going to use?
I'm probably going to use little...
All new games.
No.
All
Your
new
mom.
games.
All new games.
I could probably work that out. Although ACA Neo Geos, I'll start with the same thing. So yeah, you need to spell mistletoe on day 9. Mistletoe.
What about day 10?
That should have been...
Well, day 10 is where Death Dealers dies in 12 days.
Oh, wait. Death Dealer's is good at shooters. Does it have to do with shooters?
Oh, it does have to do with
Fufu
shooters.
could
You
do
just have
this
to
one.
get 10 achievements in the shooter genre. So Death Dealers will struggle a little bit, but that should be pretty easy. You probably have like 45 pages worth of shooters in your list.
Well, if she needs help, I'm sure she can ask you for some help.
Maybe you can jump in on your Gears 4 boost.
Hey, there we go.
But that's it. That's today. That's the podcast dropping. So we already knew all that. How boring is that?
Well, of course. Now, by any chance, do we know the next 2 days?
Oh, I don't know. That would be a spoiler. Come on. We don't spoil things here. Or do we?
I think you mean we might know it, but it's a secret.
Oh, that's right. It is a secret.
You know what deodorant Kenny wears? Secret.
That was so dumb.
Secret clinical strength.
All right. Well, in that case, let's say them. Let's spoil these.
You should. We should. If you don't want to be spoiled, what should you do, Kenny?
Hang on. Let me bring some sort of music up right now.
Scrub like a minute, but if you still hear whatever music Kenny puts in at this point, then you know it's still danger territory.
Al, what's the next 2 days?
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
I am trying to get you in trouble. You're the one that got him for us.
I was sworn to secrecy. So I will not tell
on
you.
secret it.
I will not tell you that day 11 is aerial, automobile, and naval genre. Wow.
Naval, like belly buttons.
Damn, you stole
As
my
a genre.
joke. Don't be thinking on L terms now. That's not
This
good.
is what happens when
I know. We
You
finish
you
each
drink
other's
before we record.
sandwiches. Day 12 is Link Frog. And what that means is the last letter of the achievement you lock has to then match the first letter of the next achievement you unlock. So, for example, if the achievement ends with an R, that you're going to need to pick an achievement that begins with an R as your next one that you unlock.
so
And
on
you
and
got to
so
do that
forth.
12 times.
12 times.
And by the time you do that, it will probably be New Year's Eve, which is the last day you can unlock stuff for this. So
No,
get going,
easy enough.
people.
Got to do them on day 12 or it doesn't count.
Oh, all right.
That's how I roll. You got to do it day of. So, like, none of these are hard, right? There should be a hard badge on TA. I'm just going to say that.
I mean, not everyone has access to all the crappy games we do. So
All right, fine. You are 100% correct. But they can
I am correct.
They can kiss my
There should
Whoa,
be an asterisk.
kiss my
They
grits.
should have an asterisk.
So can you sing the song for me, El? This can be patron special.
I will sing it.
Fug special.
I will sing it later with accompanying music.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
patron specials.
Fancy pants.
But the patrons have to promise not to unsub. Love everybody.
All right.
That's the only contest that matters, right? No one cares about anything else.
Speaking of
Well,
the,
I don't
the
really
good,
wanna
the
talk
good
about-
contest.
I don't want to talk about how we had to waste bonuses this week in GTAS, so just move on
Oh.
to something else.
No, we're going to talk about
No,
GTAS
no.
real
No,
quick.
no,
Let's
no,
at least,
no, no.
let's at least
real
shout
quick.
out the losers.
All right, fine.
Corey, go ahead and shout out the losers.
All right, GTAS 2020. We have some losers from the past week. We actually have a lot, and that would be Enigma Gamer 77. He is out of the individual side. It's Alive, which is that's It's Alive. He's out on the individual side.
I don't think he's alive anymore.
Yeah, good point. Both of them are out on the individual side. For teams, though, Oz Buffniak's team is out. Scooby and the gang, they rest in peace. Enigma Gamer 77, also out on team as well as individual. His team name, Pineapples on Pizza.
Totally
I don't know how
allowed.
you can get so much wrong in a sentence.
No, it's allowed. You have pineapple on pizza.
No, pineapple on pizza is terrible.
Have you had pineapple
It's
on
poison.
pizza with pepperoni?
I don't
That's
put
good.
fruit.
No, I don't.
I don't like hot fruit most of the time.
You like tomatoes, right?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I like ketchup and tomato sauce, and I'll eat a tomato, but I'm not going to pick a tomato, put salt on it, and eat it raw. That's a thing
Who
they
does
do
that?
down
That
here.
sounds awful.
Anyways, the last community team that we lost was a big one. All 4 members are part of it. Lame Petards need a guide to Massachusetts. This is the team of, as you guessed it, Petart, TX, Mr. Petart, not TX, Mattism, and Facial Lafleur. They are all gone on the team side. I think we saw earlier in the Discord, like somewhere around 53 teams used bonuses this past week. It was nuts. My team used 1 bonus. I don't remember if we needed it or not, but I definitely didn't wake up and have to scramble, which was nice, especially because the bonus for last week was ending on gamer score from the whole team that divided by 1,000, and we were there. I don't want to mention how Kronos went over that by like 5 or 10 points, and he had to get another like 900 while everybody was sleeping, but I just did. So shout outs to Kronos for that. If you are still in it, or if you still care, this week's bonuses are...
You get 50 achievements in solo, which you basically have to do to survive at this point, I would say.
So, yeah, 50 achievements in
stuff.
solo is pretty easy, almost a give me, especially if you're doing 12 days. I think Alex even did the math, and if you do 12 days and you do it on the days, I think you would go well over what you need this week. And on the team side, it's one of my favorites. Spelling competition.
Oh.
Well, actually, not really spelling. You have to get achievements with the letters that start from A to Z. So that's 26 letters. You don't have to go in order. And you just need to log an achievement with that letter all the way from A to Z. And I'm going to brag on myself. Pre-brag camp, I did this on the first day. Hey.
Oh.
That's because you are no ordinary person.
I know, I'm a little extra.
You're very extra.
I was already doing, I'm just going to tell you. I was already doing Bard's Tale in cheat mode method, and that gave me a third of these characters. Then I played a little Ratalaika gem called Ord. Now that is a piece of RNG bullcrap that I got some good letters out of. I got an X and a Z and a Y and a U, I think. And I got some others. But, man, the randomness of that game, I tell you what, if you don't like random, you'll be yelling at it. And then I just finished up with a lot of random stuff. I had like 5 or 6 games that I just got 1 achievement in to fulfill the alphabet, and bonus done. Well, actually, bonus is not done. My teammates have to do it, so they better deliver, and we'll be on our merry way. On to the next period.
This is a strange one, a 4 to 5 hour visual novel.
It's all text based.
Waka.
It's all text based. It gives you like a
Sounds
word,
terrible.
like wake up, and then alarm, and you have to choose wake up or snooze. I'm gonna give you a hint.
Snooze.
If you snooze 5 times, that's an achievement. But you wake up, and then it's like you're in your house. Leave your house, stay in your house, and you leave your house, and it seems to always follow the same path. Like the next thing you do is go into a forest, and then it starts to branch off from there. You can make your way to a dungeon somehow, or a village, and then certain things happen in those places, and you have to choose different things. Like there's a guide on Steam on how to get these achievements, but you have to be lucky and hope that those text options are given to you. More often than not, the ones you want aren't going to come up. So it's RNG bullcrap. That's all I can say.
When you do the thing with the clock, after you wake up, do you grab a brush and put a little makeup?
No, I don't get that reference, but you don't do that.
Oh, Corey.
Is it a song?
Yes.
Put on a brush and get a little makeup. Nope, I don't know.
System of a Down. System of a Down.
How do you not know that?
System of a Down. Yeah, sing it for me. I don't know it.
I actually can't sing that song.
Oh wait,
Yeah, it's
something.
You know, you wanted to.
Wake up.
Yes, I know this.
Shake up.
I know this.
Why'd you leave your keys upon the table?
Yeah, I know this from Weird Al.
You want to do?
Why'd you get another
Wait.
table? You wanted to.
That's a Weird Al medley.
Yes, the white boy polka.
Yep.
I just think I drafted my mind into a suit. Yeah, something like that. That goes into the next part.
Close enough.
Yeah, so my rendition was way off, but that you did not do
very
that.
much so.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ord has like every letter in the alphabet. If you want to try it, go for it.
And the achievements are worth 16G each.
Oh, is it? I didn't even notice the game score.
Oh my!
Because you know
goodness.
I'm a G like that, and I don't care about that.
16 times, and there's 62 achievements. Yep, bunch of 16s and 124. Wow.
Kiefer.
Weird.
So I guess stay away from it if you're, afraid of gamer score
or completed.
that ends in a number like that. But for those who aren't, it's a great choice for this week's G-Task Team Challenge.
What was it again?
Ord.
After the
Ord. O-R-D.
O-R-D.
After the chop suey thing, I kind of forgot.
Ord. And it will get you nowhere in the Gamertag Challenge.
True.
That's your cue, Nate.
And the Gamertag Challenge that we're talking about is for December. And that Gamertag
That pause
Challenge
was from a fart.
Sorry, yeah, I'm just coughing. I had a frog in my throat.
Yeah, it was a cough.
Wheezy Fuzz is the Gamertag Challenge for December. His wild card game is any achievement or previous completion in Graveyard Keeper. And his bonus, I don't think I mentioned this last time, he is a nurse who used to specialize in cardiac. So that's why we chose Nobody Makes Me Bleed My Own Blood. Achievements with the words heart or blood anywhere in the title.
You did not mention the nurse thing
No, we
before.
did not mention why we chose that.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Now let's take it back. Let's go back a little bit.
this
Whoop, 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 whoop. All right. Let's go to Wheeling and Dealing, because we haven't talked about sales yet. This is Nate's favorite time of the podcast. So since it's Nate's favorite time of the podcast, we're going to go to L first. L,
That
what
makes
games
a lot of
would you
sense.
recommend?
It makes a total lot of sense.
I saw you nodding off.
So much sense we have $1. It's a money joke. Economics.
What?
Don't worry about it. Don't you know L has some recommendations?
Mm-hmm.
Well, since I am everyone's everyone's favorite grammar Nazi,
Infamous.
I have to definitely recommend Typo Man, which is a remarkable $2. I
should have
bought
seen
this
that
game
coming.
at launch for $10. Shockingly and surprisingly.
You should have just waited.
I know, I should have waited 3 years for it to go down $7.
You bought it on launch for $10.
Don't buy games, though. Don't
Now-
buy
Yes,
games.
I played this game legit, which everyone should, especially on a first go-through. You basically use the words to solve the puzzles. Stop it, Corey.
What?
Wait, what did you say?
I was trying to originally say that
Oh,
you
look,
bought it
there's
on,
100
at
points.
launch for $10, but now the listeners can buy it on lunch for $2. On their lunch break, they can buy the game.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
I liked it.
It's a word thing.
I like
'cause you typo, man.
That's exactly right. Like lunch, if you put an A in lunch, you get lunch. I get it. It's kind of like the British
Yes.
people. They put extra U's in their words, but it's kind of like that. The one thing about this game achievement-wise is that it unfortunately has a Limbo-esque achievement that you need to beat the game with 5 or less deaths. I was unsuccessful in my attempts, but I have 9 friends that were successful in doing it.
Did you say 5 or less?
Oh, I know. 5 or fewer. I know.
There we go.
I'm the
Are you
worst
the
grammar
grammar
Nazi.
Nazi?
I'm the worst
On
grammar
this-
Nazi.
on
there
this
is.
game?
I know. I know, and Weird Al told me that in Word Crimes several times, and I can't remember it.
It's a word crime.
Even Jables did it, so I guess I can definitely do it if Jables did. But I recommend that one. And Concept Destruction, I talked about that when I got my Series X. That's $3. But the thing about it is, now that we know that day 11 is automobiles, I'll just use this game for all of it. Easy and done. Easy comprito. And I'm going to be hitting.
All right.
Going to be hitting Nate less times and fewer times. From now.
Speaking of Nate,
definitely more times.
What do you got, Nate?
Oh, was I supposed to pass it off to Nate?
Super fast.
Sail
That's definitely how we're supposed to do it.
Super fast. Conga Master. This is $2 down from 10. It's marked as dance, but yeah, you're dancing, but it's, I don't know. Doesn't seem like a dance game to me. You're moving around the dance floor trying to collect people to build out your conga line. That's it. I mean,
is it like Snake?
It's more like Snake than it is a dance game. Yeah. It's kind of, I like this game. I got distracted as I do. But yeah, it's a fun game and it's $2. So check it out. Absolute Drift Zen Edition. Now don't be scared. When you're looking at this on TA, it says that it's partly discontinued. That is the PC version. The Xbox version gets achievements just fine. I did it myself today just to make sure that achievements are unlocking, and they are unlocking on the Xbox version, no problem. And Absolute Drift Zen Edition will cost you $3 down from $12. It's listed as arcade racing. Hey, that might be a day. Another game, Far Lone Sales, is $7.50 down from $15. It's called an adventure, or it's labeled as an adventure game. I saw a review on this game that made it sound like a really interesting kind of chill game. So
there's
no combat. Yeah, you're basically just moving from left to right through the desert, repairing your ship as you go. By the power of wind, you're being propelled across this desert. Sounded like an interesting game. $7.50. It might be worth checking out. And finally, the last game I want to talk about is Where the Water Tastes Like Wine Xbox Edition. And it is $6 down from $20. It is labeled as adventure, but this game, it looks more like a choose your own adventure. If you've watched any of the videos for it, it seems like it's very much story driven. In fact, you're collecting stories and you're using them as a kind of currency in this game. And there's an overworld aspect where you do have a little bit of agency as to where you're going. You're going to follow this path. You're going to go over here and talk to this little question mark on the map and maybe gain a story or something like that. It looks interesting. And it's had good reviews. I think Corey was telling me it had good reviews on Steam where people were talking about the story aspect and the gameplay. So yeah, you might want to check it out. I'm tempted. Basically, I just like the title. And I thought it was maybe worth checking out. Yeah, lots of little deals this week.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how there's a dance game that is not a Connect title. Conga Master.
Yeah, I can't imagine trying to play Conga Master with Connect. That would be insane.
Well, just dance. Those aren't.
Especially if one person. Okay. You need a line.
Exactly. All right, there's a Coke joke in there somewhere. I won't say. Go ahead.
Not again.
Probably. It's probably somewhere on the hand.
Coke jokes.
And if you don't want to spend any money, we got some games coming to Game Pass. January 5th is Killer Queen.
Yes.
And is Phoenix Wright.
Is that replacing Gang Beasts as our January game?
No. So we will still stream Gang Beast, I think.
Next week.
No. That's in January, bud.
Whoa.
I think.
Aw.
I don't know. We haven't talked about it. So Killer Queen is an 8-player game. And I started a little duel in Discord saying that Kenny and I should play L and Koosh in a youngs versus old. See, if you do math, that's not 8 people though. So we would have to invite 2 people each.
True.
All right, I'm down.
and then we would have a full game. So, but this is turning into like a decades thing, and so now we might have like a small tournament for Killer Queen. I think it's Killer Queen Black. I think is the actual name of the game. It's Killer Queen might be like an arcade thing, but it's kind of remind me. I want to say IDAR, but it's not like gameplay like IDAR, but it's just like a screen, and there's 3 different ways you can win. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it looks fun, and I've heard really good things about Killer Queen, and it's 8 players, so that's pretty cool. And I think we're gonna do something with it.
All right, I got a trivia question for Corey. What band performed the song Killer Queen?
That would be the band Queen.
No, it's the Killers. Come on.
Oh, you tricked me. You tricked me. Son of a gun, you tricked me.
Other games that have been added now. Call of the Sea for Android console and PC. Monster Sanctuary for Android and the console. Wait, and PC. There's a stack.
Which Corey mentioned earlier.
Yes. Starbound for the PC.
Which has console commands.
Which no one wants to play because it has console commands.
Unto the End for console and PC. Haven't we mentioned these? I don't know.
We have. We haven't already mentioned these. We're reminding you.
Yeah, we're reminding you.
They're out now.
In the future. In the future, these are out now.
No, they're out now.
Yeah.
No, but now they're not out. It's not December 10th yet.
Well, it is when they listen to this podcast.
Time travel.
But it's not while I'm saying this.
But it's time travel.
It's time travel.
Oh, my brain hurts. Let me
time
just
travel.
Yes.
Assetto Corsa for Android and console. Gang Beast for Android and console. Greedfall for Android console and PC. Super Hot Mind Control Delete for Android and console. Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Layer, thanks Corey, for the Android console and PC.
Thank you.
There we go.
And for going away, hey, there's nothing here, so that's good news.
Because we talked about it last week. So do them. We gotta go. Let's go.
This is going long. Probably can't. Corey and your laughing self, whatever it is that you're drinking.
Corey's wasted.
It's gone now.
Whatever it is that you were drinking.
Well, Heizo, you see, he completed 400 games, and my buddy, Railbait, a.k.a. Noth, a.k.a. Commander Console Command, he completed 700 games, so GG's to them. Completion percentage, we have Planting 42, who got a completion percentage of 42% minus 1. That's 41%.
Good joke.
Thank you. That's compliments of Koosh. Dan PSFX. Dan's P's FX. Anyway.
Dan's P fix.
Yeah. He got 53% completion percentage. Is J Zarp 43, 54%. Matt Cam 09, 55%. Retro Chief. My buddy Retro Chief got 76%. Mr. P-Tart 79%. And MDP 73 got 73% plus 10 more. That's 83%. That's another math joke for you.
In ratio, still nothing. Come on, guys, play some hard games. In streaks, Officer Zero is currently on a 50-day streak. Inigo Montoya 80 and Quick Don't Die are hand in hand at the 100-day achievement win streak mark. MDP 73 is 126. And Blue Thunder 7398 is on a 2,750-day achievement win streak with no comma. Big L is currently on a 2,900-day achievement win streak with a comma.
That guy needs to life.
Yeah. So the MDP one actually we mentioned because that is a new personal best. GG. For achievements 1, Crazy Catman has earned 8,000 achievements. Freedom Girl 85, 9,000. Mark B 12,000. God, how do you say that name again?
Blue Thunder.
Inigo Montoya.
Thank you, Nate.
Oh, that one.
Where are you looking, Corey?
You killed my father.
Three lines down.
Montoya has won 31,000 and Railbait 33,000 achievements won.
Oh wait, I was looking at streaks.
We're past that, Corey.
Apparently,
It's a math joke.
Inigo
You wouldn't get
Montoya.
Speaking of Inigo Montoya, he is still going strong in Leapfrog. They are up to 86 achievements. as we speak.
Yeah, they should really 86 that competition now.
Oh, very good.
Math jokes.
Why does L come out in me when I drink?
There's the title of the podcast episode.
No!
I mean, better than coming in you. So, what are we up to?
That's the joke.
And there's the intro.
We're on Gamer Score.
Oh, God, I can't breathe. Hatton 90 has 200,000 gamer score. Way to go.
Hey, that's a double foof.
Hey.
He was with us when he hit his first foof.
He was with us before, yeah. And I'm stalling because I know he hit that 200,000 with something really good.
I'm sure it was. We
And
love
now I
Hatton.
don't remember.
Good job, Hatton.
It was like a tip of the hat. Yeah, tip of the hat. In NHL 94 Rewind.
I hope
Nice.
every
Tip of the hat.
100,000 gamer score is a hat-related achievement.
That'd
That
be
would
a
be
trick.
amazing.
That'd be a real trick.
Yep.
Also, 101 has hats.
Hat trick equals 3.
Sir.
Oh,
Polygon.
hat trick. I get it.
Yeah.
It's a sports joke.
You wouldn't, yeah.
Top tip of the hat. Right. Sir Polygon also has 200,000 gamer score. Way to go.
Oh, you guys should race to 300.
And you're get set, go! High Road V2 has 550,000 gamer score. And Nigo Montoya has 900,000 gamer score. And Mental Knight has 900,000 gamer score. You guys should race to 1 million.
Hey, you guys should race a million. Oh, you stole my joke.
And I got a drink next week. Crunchy Goblin has 350,000 TA score. Dan Pacific has 750,000 TA score. Icefire TN has 850,000 TA. ZZ Urban Spaceman, thank you, my friend, has 950,000 TA score. Vulgar Latino has 1,100,000 TA score. Quick Don't Die, 1,150,000 TA score. Aniga Montoya, 1.7 mil TA. Railbait, 1.75. And Jimbot UK, 1.85 million TA score.
Wow.
Woo! In the leaderboards, our good friend, who is not Railbait, someone who's makes is a fun Irish person, Northern Lass, 1,000, top of the 1,000 of TA leaderboard for card and board. Mad Lefty's in the top 10,000 of the Gamerscore leaderboard. Quick Don't Die is in the top 5 of the Michigander TA leaderboard. Sarah Polygon is in the top 5 of the Georgia Gamerscore leaderboard for On Rails. Okay, I guess that's a thing. NBA Kirkland is in the top 100 of the TA difference leaderboard for colons. Oh, collection. Chewy on Ice is in the top 1,000 of the Gamerscore leaderboard. Hey, that's a real good one.
That's your club.
I know, it's in my club. I need to play some more baby games.
I want to get in your club.
Hat 90 is in the top 500 of the England TA leaderboard for hockey. Big L is in the top 2,000 of the TA leaderboard for point and click. I guess that's thanks to Grim Fandango. That's all I've played recently. If I haven't mentioned the Grim Fandango, it's a pretty good game. Check it out.
It's
Okay, cool.
I'm more surprised that Michelle is not in the top 2,000 for True Achievement Leader for point and click.
Well, there's a reason for that. She probably didn't track it.
smart.
Sign up
All
for our next simul session, Truberbrook.
Ooh. That's next
All
time.
right.
Oh, you know what? I was going to use Truberbrook for the Missables day, so thanks for reminding me.
You're most welcome.
Thanks, bud.
Don't you know?
Hey, don't you know? What are
Don't
you
you know we
drinking
should
anyway?
finish the show?
What are you drinking? Smirnoff Ice? What the hell is that?
I'm just letting you go. Just seeing where this whatever this is goes.
Hey, dude with the face. Welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. That's a
to.
good name.
Okay, yes.
I like that name.
This is definitely the time for the outro. It is getting late.
Well,
We're
you keep
getting giddy.
started later and later. That's what happens.
Not my fault.
Okay.
So, as always, if you would like to catch our streams, check us out on twitch.tv/AH101. You can hit us up on Twitter at Achievements101. Send us that Twitter tweet. Join in on the Discord, discord.io/AH101. And if you really enjoyed the show enough to give us your monies, we will accept them over at patreon.com/achievementhunting101. Speaking of Twitch, we have our stream schedule. If you're listening to this the day that it came out, I will be streaming the Game Awards. I will be starting at 6 Eastern. I'll do the pre-show and then the main show. Come on, join me in Xbox Party Chat. I'll have one open.
Hashtag FuFu over Jeff Keighley.
That is the official hashtag. Get it trending. Friday, for the community session, Vulgar Latin, we'll be golfing with all of our friends at 9.
Up to 8.
Huh? Oh, yeah, up to 8.
Us and our 7 friends.
Something like that. And then he'll also be streaming again on Saturday. I think he'll be doing Final Fantasy VII again, so keep a lookout for that. And Sunday, as I've been doing for the past few weeks, Halo 3 with myself, Alex, P-Tart, and Deaf Dealers. But this week, it should be our final go in Halo 3, as we'll be going for one of my favorite achievements, Annual. So that will be interesting. That will be happening around
son of a
7
bitch.
Eastern. Yes, without you this time.
I tuned in last time. It was fun. You guys are nice and chipper.
Too.
And then as soon as I popped on, you left. You left the stream, just gone.
That wasn't my fault.
Hold on.
My
Whose fault are you about to say? Watch your mouth.
It was Brooke's fault.
Oh, he said it.
Wait,
she was sick. She was throwing up.
You're doing what with 2 girls in the party? Oh, Annual. All right, I got it.
But
I'm not going to acknowledge that.
It's a but. I'll tell you later.
It's a butt. It's a butt.
I'm not. We cannot talk about that on the
Why
podcast. Oh my goodness. All right. That was definitely a podcast. That was something. Corey was drunk.
No.
With that, class is dismissed. See you next week.
Salutations.
Bye-bye.
I'll be right back. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
I'm back.
Hello and welcome to the latest installment of Back to Back, where we play through our old non-backwards compatible games on the 360 and share our experiences. I'm Chewy on Ice, and with me, as always, I have the wonderful, beautiful, lugubrious Michelle.
Thank you.
Michelle, otherwise known as Matrock. How are you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing quite fine. How are you, Chewy?
I am very well indeed. Looking forward to some back-to-back chat. And
awesome.
Also with me, I have the wonderful, beautiful, lugubrious. I don't know what lugubrious means. What does lugubrious mean?
You eat a lot of beans. Legumes.
Leguminous? Well, we'll look
I
that
do.
up.
Elroy,
I had some lentil soup.
OMJ. How are you doing, Elroy?
Yeah, that's me.
Lugubrious means looking or sounding sad and dismal. We're going to have to retake the whole intro.
No.
Yeah.
We're keeping it.
Or you eat a lot of beans.
Now, yeah. Or, well, we figured it out.
And well, you said sad and what was the second
dismal.
part of that?
Dismal.
Mm-hmm. I do have a quick story on that. If you could entertain me,
We
on
always
this.
have time.
I've been dying to tell the story. It was so bad.
All right. Well, hold
here
on.
you go.
Before you
Quick
start your story,
time.
I've got to timestamp this. I'm at 4:50 Enco.
Okay, maybe a Patreon exclusive. I don't know. So I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You know, I'm doing the Viking thing, right? And so I put a picture or video in the Discord of this amazing, huge, very large cat that jumps into your arms. I was under the impression P-Tart liked cats, and so I tagged her in it, and apparently I don't know what I was thinking, but this was a very large cat that jumped in your arms. It was a great moment. If you like cats, you're like, wow, this is awesome. And so I I showed this to my lovely wife. She was sitting on the couch next to me. I'm like, look at this. It's got this cat in it. And it looks like our cat. Like, it looks like our cat and our cat jumping up in your arms. And it's just like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And so I recorded it, and I had to get a little closer to the TV. So I put my controller down, went up, recorded it. And that's where I got the video from. So then I went and sat back down on my couch and, talked to Kelly a little bit. And then it's time to, resume play. So I grabbed my controller. Kelly's still looking at the screen. I grabbed my controller, and I guess on the new Series X, they make the buttons a little more hair trigger or something like that. Because as I grabbed the controller, I hit the RB button with my right thumb, and all of a sudden I just eviscerated that poor cat. I just, just like sliced it right in half. And Kelly's like, and I literally gasped. It was I don't remember the last time I gasped while playing a video game, but I was like, I didn't know what to say. Kelly's just like, it was like traumatic for her. It was traumatic for me. She started calling me, yeah, she was. And started calling me cat killer. And Assassin's Creed, I don't know if you notice or not, but if you kill a helpless, sweet little kitten on the screen, it was like the thing was a sack of blood, because I cut that sack open and there was blood everywhere. Like they really overdid it with the amount of blood they packed into the cat, and it was just everywhere on the ground. And so I quickly hit the menu button, went into my save state, and I just reloaded the last autosave that whatever took place before that, because I didn't want any NPCs that might have accidentally saw that. I wanted to destroy all evidence that occurred. And so I just pretended like it never happened, and Kelly can't quite forget that it happened, and she still's giving me crap about it to this day about that. It was a very unfortunate incident, but anyway, that's the only memorable experience I've had with my Series X thus
I feel
far.
like you should go into the stats screen of that game and see if it says anything. Cats eviscerated.
Helpless kittens.
Goodness.
Gutted like a pig. Jeez.
No, let's not bring the Iron Snout into this.
Yeah, you're right.
That isn't backwards compatible. But I kind of the three of us, I guess jumping the gun a little bit here, I think I have the most lugubrious tale, as I typically do, because I typically don't pick games that are easy or games I haven't started yet that are completable. I pick games that have been sitting on my tag for a long time. So do you mind if I just jump in and talk about my back-to-back experience?
Well, I was going to say it would only be right as a gentleman to let the ladies go first, so please, Michelle, share your story.
On the same page. Awesome. So the last time we got together, the game I said I would give a go to was TNA Impact. And in case you're not familiar, TNA Impact is a wrestling federation that has gone through some changes. I believe now it just exists as Impact. But back in 2006 to 2008, somewhere in there, it actually was, I wouldn't call it a rival to WWE, because nothing really got there until more recently, but it did have a good roster and lots of talent, and they became big enough or influential enough that they had a video game released on the property. So I didn't do so great in it this month, but before I go forward, just to confirm, neither of you are Chewy, other than running a very successful Discord-based video game-influenced wrestling promotion, neither of you are super into this or really know a whole lot of the talents, or do you have some familiarity with just the whole wrestling thing?
So I was a WWE fan. Yeah, I went through the 90s Attitude phase, but I was WWE. Okay. I do recognize the face of Sting on the cover of the game, but that's about as far as I know with TNA.
Okay.
I went to college and I found out everybody in the college watched wrestling, and so it was forced upon me, and then it made me into a rabid fan for about 4 years. I watched it when I was a kid, like the 80s with Andre the Giant, Macho Man, and all the old school guys, and then I got back into it around 96 through 2000. Even so much that we put on a student organization show in the MSC is like the building where everything happens, and we actually put down a wrestling ring and performed a wrestling match for with an audience, and I was Buff Bagwell. I was Buff the Stuff.
Oh, jeez.
And I can probably find a picture of that and put that in the Discord as well.
I think you're obligated to now.
Yeah, but that was pretty cool. But that was about the peak of my wrestling finesse, if you will. So
okay, so here in my estimation, so you probably aren't super familiar with TNA as a property anyway. But what's crazy about the game when you play it, keeping in mind that it was released in 2008, is just how many of the people on the roster are familiar faces. So Chewy, you already mentioned Sting is on the cover, right? And Sting had, a little moment in WWE, recently appeared on AEW. So Sting has been around forever. But a lot of the other guys on this roster are either current WWE or current AEW talents. Guys like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, I know recently kind of backed off of all that. Christian is a retired superstar, but he's someone, so like when you really look at the names on this roster, it's stacked. And it's amazing how they managed to not actually make a play at competing with all those guys. So let me tell you what go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, is Shark Boy an actual wrestler?
Yes. And
I've never heard Shark Boy, but it sounds fantastic.
Well, okay, so Steve Austin, right? And you know his catchphrase? He has a few.
Is he the one that says, you smell what the Rock is cooking?
I used to watch this reality show. It was some redneck island or something like that. There's a little known show. It was like, I
remember
what
that.
That's to do with his catchphrase.
There was
Never mind.
But his catchphrase, frequently at the end of his promos, he'd say, "And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so." Right? I didn't do it with the right inflection, but you understand what I'm getting at. So Shark Boy's thing would be, "That's the fishing line."
Oh,
he was a parody character. So. Yeah, grown. But there's an achievement in the game to win 25 matches as Shark Boy, which I did not get. Because on like many wrestling games, you start with a base roster, and as you play, you open up more characters, and then you can get more of those sorts of achievements. So the list has... did you have something?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, they really missed out on that one. They could have made the achievement, maybe put it as 2 achievements and made one where, like when you like throw them into the ropes and then they lay down on the ground, you jump over them and all that. They could have done a jump the shark achievement.
Oh, that would have been
really like when you're good. Jumping over them, or maybe jumping off the top rope on the shark, jump the shark. I don't know. They missed opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. That was a missed opportunity. Well, they've never had another one since, so it's unfortunate. But looking at the games list, it's effectively split into sort of 3 components. There is the multiplayer, which I did ages ago, and I'm going to come back to the multiplayer stuff at the end of what I accomplished for back-to-back. Then there's the campaign, and the campaign is interesting. It's silly, but interesting. You play as this character who, his name was Suicide, and actually that character became a character in TNA, in like the actual television program, eventually. So they tied it into the video game, which I don't know how good or bad that was. I wasn't watching, but it's a thing that happened. And anyway, Suicide is, fought up the ranks because this isn't all preset to happen, and worked his way all the way up to the tippy top and had a match for the championship. And he was told, don't win the match. And he went ahead and won the match anyway. Oh. And then he gets beat within an inch of his life and winds up in Mexico, where some surgeon reconstructs his face and he has no memory of who he is, but still knows he's a wrestler and needs to wrestle his way back up to the top. So that's where you come in. Yeah.
Wow.
That's an amazing plot. No, that's an amazing plot.
You got to give that to them. And they did it in a way where you create a character, that's why you're creating him, because he literally had his face reconstructed.
Yeah, so I think is it one of the skate games or one of the Tony Hawk games does that as well, where the opening scene is you getting hit by a truck or something, and then you end up in hospital and have to have reconstructive surgery and then create yourself.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I can't place it, though, so I don't want to say where from, but it does sound familiar. So, look, it's a trope that's out there. It got used. It's fine, but it gets you on the story. And a lot of the game's achievements, a good portion of them are locked into this campaign. I managed one of those achievements. One. And I did that as part of back-to-back because I am terrible at wrestling games. I play them frequently because I help people boost them. But despite what you may think, they actually require some level of finesse in the controls. So it's not enough to just press right an A or whatever you have to press. You have to time it correctly. I'm not good at that. I'm twitchy at games. That's why I prefer, in my shooters, Gears of War, because I can sit and I can make decisions. I don't have to twitch activate on things. I really, really am terrible at wrestling games. So I got through the first 3 matches. That got me the first campaign achievement. Got to the next match after that, lost it 4 times, shut off my console, and never tried the game again. I'm done. I'm out. Because I just can't do it. And it is entirely my fault. But I'm going to say it's not entirely my fault because first of all, I'm playing on the dumb difficulty, and I get reversed all the time. So there's supposed to be, if you read the walkthrough, and there is a very good walkthrough on TA, they say, it's really simple. You just do this move, and then this move, and then this move, rinse, repeat, and you win the battles. Except, if you do this leg drop move, but by the guy's head, he will reverse you almost every time. And he doesn't just do the courtesy of reversing you by dropping you on the mat so you can press A and get back up. He low blows you every time. So your character's writhing around, and then they just take advantage of you and beat the crap out of you. So that's
and then
as
you
far
end
as
up
I
in
got.
Mexico. I mean, it's just
It's Groundhog Day. But so that many of the game's achievements are locked up in that part of the game, and I think if you play wrestling games normally and you're okay with them, you'll do fine. If you're me, you won't, and that's fine because, like many other wrestling games, it has a whole host of achievements that are win a match as this character, or win a match as this character versus this character. And you can plug in a second controller to do those. Your second controller isn't going to mess with you or deliver 100 low blows or 1,000 successes in a row on reversals, so you can just do what you need to do. So, getting to why this was like my lugubrious tale, I only managed to get 7 more achievements in the game, which is a small amount for 170 gamer score. But it was progress. I probably won't accomplish more in it. There is multiplayer I still have to do. People have volunteered to help, and I'm happy to help anyone else who needs it.
if only somebody you knew was really good at the game and had like a completion on it.
I wouldn't ask him to like help me through the campaign though. He can help. He can't help me boost it because I actually have his copy. So L had the game, and that's why I have it. But go ahead, Chewy.
Well, I'm just really impressed, actually, because you just mentioned the multiplayer online achievements, and I'm just staggered that a wrestling game from 2008 still has servers that are online.
Nothing is discontinued. This is because the game wasn't published by 2K. It was published by Midway, and I'm guessing they must use Microsoft's servers or something, so the online's not going anywhere. And I wanted to get back to online, so this is the last piece I'm going to say about the game. Would I recommend TNA Impact to anybody? No. However, there's an important however here. If you have a 360, of course, because it's not backwards compatible, this game is really good for the contests we tend to play around our games. It doesn't sound like it would be because the TA ratio is a little over a 2, so it's not super easy. It's a 20-hour completion. Who wants to play a wrestling game for 20 hours? However, it has a 0-pointer, which is why I started the game, because there was a contest to get requirement to get a 0-pointer. It has an achievement beginning with the letter X. That's easy to get. It has a viral achievement. It is not backwards compatible. So it fits a lot of little niches that make it good to hold onto for contest purposes, because that one game will do all those things. So if that's a motivator for you, not a bad game to just have on hand. Otherwise, unless you're chasing a wrestling leaderboard, this is skippable. There's really no reason to play it.
Yeah, on the 0-point achievement that you were mentioning, it actually makes me think of one of our own. I do believe that one of the zeros, I think it has a couple of zeros, but there's one for Jobber Nation for losing 5 times in one sitting. And whenever I see Jobber, I always think, of course, of FuFu, who looks like a jobber wrestler, generic jobber wrestler, and like he runs in with his like shorts, and his wrestling name is Kenny Ellison, and and he just takes the L against somebody that doesn't have their name as their wrestling name.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have that one because it's lose 5 matches in a row on Xbox Live, so it's not just play them in games. You got to find somebody else who has the game, and like I say, even between me and Elle, we only have one copy because I'm borrowing his. So The other 0-pointer, though, is one for not getting hit for a minute, and you just have to plug in a second controller and let it run, and then you get that achievement pretty easily.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm glad to leave it behind me now.
So
I feel no obligation to it anymore.
I assume, being friends with Elle and being a bit of a fan yourself, you've played most of the classic Ukes titles throughout the years.
I have, yes.
How does this kind of compare to those, if you think of that as the kind of standout series and the one to compare everything to?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because Ukes really is the gold standard with wrestling development, right? Like, they developed the Fire Pro Wrestling games, too, which are really considered amongst themselves to be the gold standard of wrestling games. I don't know if it's just like a lack of tutorialing or just like a poorly designed HUD, but there were things I really didn't understand even how to do in TNA Impact that I never felt I didn't get when playing the WWE games. So, like, eventually when you're playing TNA Impact, you build up your impact meter, and once you build it up, you should be able to use a power move. I looked in the moves list for the game. I could not find anywhere where it showed me how to do this. Now, the game has some kind of tutorial. I probably played it 3 years ago and forgot everything, but it's not intuitive what you're supposed to do. I'm not going to say that the 2K games are completely intuitive either. That would be more praise than they deserve. They changed the grappling system at one point, and it was a mess. So it's not that they're perfect. And the new development team behind the WWE games just hasn't had enough time to really show us what they can do, right? The next one coming out is going to be the first one they really fully developed without like piecing together parts of what Ukes had done. The Ukes games feel better to play than TNA Impact does, but TNA Impact is also dealing with a 6-sided ring. It's already at a disadvantage. So, yeah, the TNA's hook back in the day was that their ring had 6 sides. So it feels weird in general to play the game. It controls fine, but yeah, the WWE games are definitely the higher quality partners to this game.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on the gold standard of wrestling games. I would be remiss if I didn't say WCW versus NWO World Tour on the N64. I'm just throwing that out there. That was a pretty epic game. I think that was the gold standard.
Well, I didn't play it, so I'm gonna believe you.
I am confident that your game share partner would back me up on this one. In fact, I think he's brought it up before.
I know that's like the standard goal. Like, keep in mind, like, my wrestling stuff really only started in like 2012 and more recent, other than being a fan when I was like really little. So I've played some of like the older WWE games on the Xbox, but I missed that whole generation of them on like the PlayStation and earlier sort of titles. So yes, that is probably true. I will not combat that point. I just know Ukes is really well regarded as a wrestling game developer.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Michelle. Now, moving on. I've let the lady go first, but now I think it's age before beauty. So, Elroy, why don't you take us into your next game?
I thought you were going to say, now that the lady went first, then I thought diamond shirts would go second.
That's what I was expecting too.
Yeah. I thought you were going to
diamond encrusted vests, maybe
parlay into that. Yes. Oh, man. All right. Well, the game that I played, in case you haven't heard, it is Terminator Salvation. Apparently there's another Terminator game, Terminator Resistance. This is the Salvation version, so I don't know how they work together in any kind of canon or what have you, or if they're just completely unrelated. But this is the one that, of course, is not backwards compatible on the old 360. Now, I started this game a long time ago, and then we were going to record, and then I kind of finished it up, and then some more time has passed. So my memory of it is not as good as it should be, but that's okay because it's very forgettable. The summary is this. There are a bunch of robots that are trying to kill you. That's kind of what Terminator Salvation is all about. So you are trying to stop the robots, and there's a plan that is in place Now, there's a bunch of cutscenes that explain this elaborate plot to you, right? So they keep going to cutscenes, and it looks like it's pretty deep in plot. But the good news that I bring to you today is that you can skip them. I can't tell you really what the game is about, other than every once in a while you change locations, and then there's more robots to kill. All right, and then there's a cutscene that you can skip, and then you're in a different location, and then you're shooting robots. So it's very predictable at times, because you know that you're just going to appear somewhere and start shooting robots. Now, as far as the robots are concerned, apparently the assembly line is alive and well in the Terminator world, because there's only about 3 different types of enemies. There's the traditional Terminator robot. There's a robot that has like a big shield on it where you have to shoot it in the back. And then there's a flying robot that shoots you. Again, all of them shoot you. They all like to shoot you. That's what robots do in the future, is they just like to shoot you. There's a couple others.
Technically.
Yes, Terminator.
Yes. There we go. You got to use the right terminology.
Yeah,
terminology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there.
Boy. It's just so natural.
There's a couple of other sections where you're like driving, and oh boy, I love driving sections. But you're not actually driving the vehicle. You're just in the back shooting at robots who are shooting at you as well. So there's a couple additional enemies there. Now, from what I can tell about the game, which I played through completion, and I'll get to that in a second, is that there's something called, well, I'm not sure what their plan was called, but it did remind me of one of the worst cinematic moments of all time. Not to be confused with a gymnast kicking a velociraptor through a barn door, which I think we've covered at great lengths. Not quite that bad, but it's up there. And I am, of course, talking about Independence Day, the operation in that movie where they fly a spaceship up to the alien mothership and then use a magical laptop that somehow uses the same interface as the alien network, right? Mm-hmm. So somehow it's compatible, and they upload a virus that has a laughing skull and crossbones and has a nice little virus, GUI on it. It just sits there and laughs at the aliens before dooming them. So instead of that glorious travesty of a cinematic scene, basically the plot of this video game is that you're going to the center hub of Skynet to use a magical laptop that connects to their advanced network, and you're going to shut all the robots off. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, perhaps. There was not a cool laughing skull and crossbones at the end, however, I am sad to report. And then at the end, you jump in a helicopter and you take off as robots shoot at you. So I'm not sure if it was successful or not. But anyhow, it really did make me think about the Terminator franchise and how I didn't know that all you had to do was shut the Skynet off to win. I didn't realize that was all that was needed. And it actually made me think that once the robots become self-aware and start shooting at me, all I'm going to do to stop Arnold in the gang is I'm going to drag them out to backwoods Arkansas, because there's never any network connections out there. So if it can't connect to Skynet out in backwoods Arkansas, I'm under the impression that they will shut off.
It makes sense.
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how it works.
I work in
it's
IT. I work in IT, and there's a common joke in IT that when someone calls you because they've got a problem, there is usually one solution, and that is turn it off, turn it on again. So if my computer has become a killer robot trying to kill me, then turn it off, turn it on again. It's guaranteed.
You could do either a hard reboot or a soft reboot. I mean, there's options here.
I mean, there might be dire consequences depending on which one you pick. But you made this sound so easy. I don't know why we needed like 7 movies to figure this out.
I know. You just take them out to where there's no signal. I mean, there's a lot of dead zones around in Arkansas where my folks live. So anyway, here you go. Here are the Chivos. So since this is a Chivo show, we have Chivos that are very imaginative. Okay, so keep an open mind here. All right, here's some of the achievements that you can get. You get one for completing Chapter 1. Oh, all right. You get one for completing Chapter 2. For completing Chapter 3.
Oh, can I guess one?
Yes.
Completing Chapter 4.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep. Man, you must have done some research on this game. Yep. So you just get an achievement for beating every stage. There's 9 of them. And then you get some difficulty achievements. Now, the cool thing, the best part about this game, all right, here you go. This is the part that I actually really enjoyed, is that there's an achievement for beating the game. There's an achievement for beating the game on medium, and then one for on difficult, like on hard. So I had never tried this before, but apparently there's a way to like manipulate save data on the 360. I have never done that. That was above my pay grade back when I used to play the 360 a lot. But with the 360, I had never even really gone in and looked at my save data with the 360. But,
what?
But
I mean, that was like one of the good things. You could.
I have never really paid attention to that. That all passed. I really got into achievement hunting when the 1 came out, so I didn't really. That was kind of before my day, so to speak. So with this game, all you have to do is beat the game, and then you load up like a co-op game with a second controller and change the difficulty to the highest difficulty, start the last stage of the game, and then you save out. So then it's on that second profile, and then you go into your save data, and you can either delete it, or I'll admit I put it on a USB drive because I didn't want to chance it. So I saved it off of the 360 onto a USB, and then I deleted it off of my 360. And so I deleted it, my save, and then I loaded up that second profile, and then loaded in my main profile, and then I was able to go to stage 9 on the hardest difficulty, and then I just beat the stage, and bleep bloop, I get all the achievements for the hard difficulty. So that saves you where you only have to do one walkthrough or one playthrough, and then that's it. So I thought that was that was the bee's knees, man. I'd never done that before. So that's the only thing I'll probably remember about this game.
It was a somewhat common thing you could do, like Bioshock, the Darkness, Turning Point. Okay. But they were easier. They didn't require you signing in a second profile. They were frequently like, just reload the game on hard difficulty on the last checkpoint and just do the last
Born
thing.
Identity, I think, is another one that does that.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Okay. So, but now you know, this might open a whole new world of 360 really games you've been avoiding because you didn't know this.
That's probably very helpful for current, contests going on and whatnot. So, but yeah, that was an easy, about 100 TAD for very minimal effort to get those last 2 achievements. So
very awesome.
Pretty nice.
I have a
cool.
question. Mm-hmm. Are you John Connor?
Oh, jeez.
There was no references to Arnold in this game.
Are you playing John Connor in the game?
Yes, you are. You are actually Connor. But as far as where it ranks into, or where it is in the timeline, so to speak, I do not know. I don't know.
There is Terminator Salvation, the film, which was set after Terminator 3 and is mostly set during the war. So I'm assuming the game is set during the war. It's after the apocalypse.
Maybe it has something to do with the actual movie. I don't know.
Is Christian Bale in it? Is the next question.
If he was, I couldn't tell because the graphics are terrible.
He was John Connor in that film.
It could have been anybody. It could have been me. I don't know. I guess it could have been Arnold. I don't know who with us, but and then there's the second player was some chick. I don't know who she was either.
So if
I didn't get her. I didn't catch her name.
If Christian Bale isn't in it, then I'm assuming it doesn't have his infamous sweary rant at the lighting technician that did the rounds back in the day.
He yells at you if you delete your save and shortchange the game.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. Play through it 3 times.
I mean, looking at one of the reviews posted for this game for Terminator Salvation on TA, he notes in the review, which I'm not then checking to make sure it's accurate, but that it really uses the name of the movie, but it seems like it's not really the movie. He says, quote, "If this is a licensed game, it certainly didn't milk much from the movie. Other than a few similarities in the names of characters and the overall setting of the time period, the game was not a walkthrough of the movie."
Right.
So it seems to be using elements from it and was meant to tie in to some degree, but it was really more like a cash grab using familiar characters. And obviously I never played this game. I've never watched any of the Terminator movies, so it seemed like a really bad idea to... I know. We can have a whole other segment on movies I've never seen, but like...
You skipped them for Halloween and everything.
I've never seen any of them. I've seen some of the famous scenes because you can't avoid them. And it's not that I don't want to. I haven't made the time to sit down and do it. But it seemed like a bad idea to jump in at this point. But what I do remember from the game is it was developed by Grin Studios, I'm pretty sure. And Grin developed the Bionic Commando Rearmed games, which I loved. I thought Bionic Commando Rearmed was like the one that was on the Xbox Live Arcade. And I actually would defend even the Bionic Commando remake that came out later. That was the 3D remake. I thought it was fine. It just suffered from not being more open. But this game was such a disappointment on so many levels. I think this was the last game that studio ever released because they did a poor job with the license. It didn't look good. It didn't play particularly well. So do you think this was a fitting death knell for this company? Because it sounds like it really wasn't very good.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it was a 3D, or not 3D, but it was 3D, but it was a third person shooter. I mean, it was basically like a ripoff of a Gears game. It's kind of a poor man's Army of Two or something.
Well, say no more. I gotta go order a copy. Hold on.
Yeah. It's a enjoyable little playthrough. It's only a 6 to 8 hour completion, and I just remembered something else I liked about the game is in between stages they have like this big Terminator skull on the screen, right? And so it's kind of like it's actually interactive. So if you hold the stick to one direction, it slowly pans that direction on the skull. And so you'll find that you try to see how far you can rotate the skull before the scene loads up. And you're like, if you've played it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like this giant robot face on your screen. And it takes up more than the screen allows. So if you hold down, it scrolls down from the eyes. And if you do it right as it loads in, you can see the chin by the time the next stage loads. Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
One of those Xbox Series X things, rip loading screen games. They're done now.
Yeah, you would never get that experience out of me.
So you started and finished this game as part of back-to-back, right? Like you hadn't started it prior.
No, I started it, I originally started it a while back, back when we were going to record in August, and and then I kind of tabled it, and we didn't record in, September, October, and then, Halloween was around, and I was like, oh, I'll do it for Halloween, and
not a scary game.
So I finished up, it's, since it's
but sci-fi can be scary. You're just saying
it's in
this sci-fi isn't
genre.
Scary.
Yeah, what about like Alien, man?
Alien is
like
a haunted house movie. It's basically swap the ghost out for the alien, and it's the same thing.
Well,
but the alien
swap the
makes
robot
it sci-fi,
in
right?
for the ghost, man.
Okay.
All right, so final question now, so we don't get too sidetracked.
Yes, it is a Halloween.
Would you recommend Terminator Salvation to somebody?
I guess it depends on how much you can get it off eBay for. I'd recommend it. Why not? It's a fun little playthrough, and the fact that you only got to play through it once. It's only a 6 to 8 hour, commitment. So that's pretty short for a third person shooter, and so why not?
I mean, it looks like there's a walkthrough on TA that you absolutely do not need since you just have to complete the chapters, but. Did you use the walkthrough?
Helpful. Oh, I do remember another thing is, here's a little thing that'll save you some time. Oh, did I use the walkthrough? Come on. All right. Of course I used the walkthrough. I mean, if there's a walkthrough, I'm using it. And so There is a part in the walkthrough that doesn't tell you the whole story. I forget which one it was. It's the one where you're flying a rocket ship, or one of the ships. It's like one of the driving sections, except for it's a flying section. So it's a flying section, and it's near the end of the game. I think it's chapter 6, maybe. I can't remember. But anyway, they don't tell you in the walkthrough, and maybe it's something that is told to you in the, when you first start the stage. I don't know. I'll skip that stuff. And then, but you have like a gun that overheats. And I thought that was the only weapon at your disposal. And I sat there, and this is on the easiest setting. And I went through that stupid stage, and I died probably a good 10, 15 times. I'm like, I don't understand how you're supposed to do this. Because I knew exactly where every enemy was going to spawn. I would shoot them and save, let it cool down, shoot the next thing. And then you just get to this one spot where there's like, you can't kill them fast enough. There's like 7 things shooting at you. And there's no way that you can physically shoot them all and get the trigger over to the next thing, shoot it, then get something. I mean, it just wasn't happening for me because you can't dodge or anything. It's just, they just sit there and wail away on you while you're, shooting them one by one because you have no control over the ship. You just have control over the gun. And then I found out there's another button. I don't know which button it is, but there's a button you can hit. I think I got it when I got frustrated. I just started, raging on the controller, and all of a sudden this rocket shot out. And it like destroyed something with one shot. So it doesn't say it in the walkthrough, but there is a button that has a rocket that is very high powered that you will need to complete that stage. I wish I had found it a lot earlier. I spent an extra 30 minutes on that stage, I would estimate, maybe longer. And there's a rocket you can shoot, and then combine that with your gun that you can allow to cool down. And that stage is pretty easy. So,
all right, good to know.
Yes, if you're playing the game, just be aware that there is a rocket enabled on that ship.
All right.
There you go.
I have just one more thing I need to say, Elroy.
Did you come around? It's a Halloween movie. And
your foster parents are dead.
Who are you? Why are you doing my daughter?
It's going to be some bonus content, an entire segment done in Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions.
Yeah, we even avoided
Narzuma.
We avoided the obvious ones as well, so I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Go us.
Okay. Right. Yep. Are you done? We're done. Me next. My turn.
You next.
Batman will watch his precious goddamn palace.
Get to the chopper.
That was from.
Okay.
That was when he was Mr. Ice. In case that was a little less.
Chill out.
Batman will watch his precious Gotham Palace.
Oh dear, so terrible.
You brought this on.
All right. Moving on. Okay, last time that we met, I said I would be working on a game called Fist of the North Star. And if I had time, I would also do its sequel. So it turned out I didn't have time to do the sequel. And I also didn't have time to do Fist of the North Star. As you,
It's all right.
As you mentioned, Elroy, October was Scary Games Month in the CCC, and I actually decided to play an actual scary game. Although it's not actually a scary game, but it's got vampires in it, so I think vampires beats robots when it comes to the scare factor. So I pivoted. Decided to knock out a game called Dark. Now, before I go any further, do you understand what I mean when I say the word dark? Dark. Right? You know what that word is?
Yeah, it's the quarterback for the quarterback for the Cowboys, man.
So dark.
We have to pronounce it in American for people.
So you say it.
So you played Dark.
You say it.
I understand.
Dark. I'm saying the same word.
Yes.
I'm saying the same word as you.
I know.
Right? So okay.
Oh, I know.
This is a hang up that I have.
You gotta get that R in there. Pretend like you're a pirate.
This is the thing.
Dark.
So when I was a bit younger, I lived in LA for about 6 months because I went to a film school there. And one of the classes that I went to was on documentaries. And the teacher was talking about documentaries, and she said, "Oh, do you have any recommendations? Any documentaries you've seen?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, there's this really good film. It's called Dark Days. It's about these homeless people that live in the railway tunnels in Manhattan. Really good. Really recommend it." And the teacher was like, "What?" I was like, "Dark Days. Dark Days? What? Dark."
Like DOC
Dark.
days? Is that what she
Dark.
or he thought you were?
It was probably one of the most humiliating experiences of my life.
Oh no!
I was like,
dang, must have got
She
heated
sends
there.
you straight to that diction
I
class.
have no idea what you're
Learn
saying.
how to speak.
Dark.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So
But tell us about Dark.
Dark.
Okay.
Dark.
Can you guys remember back in 2013 the whole Oman saga?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The what saga?
I don't know if Elroy knows about that, but I'll let you tell the story since you brought it up.
It was an interesting time. So occasionally, Microsoft would make boo-boos on their marketplaces. And when people got wind...
Bearing in mind when Chewy says marketplaces, he means the various international marketplaces that exist.
It sometimes happened on the US and UK ones occasionally, but very rarely.
Right. But I think a lot of people don't realize that Microsoft doesn't just maintain like UK and US and JP. They're marketplaces for all parts of the world. But
yeah.
continue.
So in 2013, a few clever people discovered that on the Oman marketplace, a handful of games had been listed as free. So that quickly spread through TA, and a whole lot of people jumped on those free games. The big titles in that were, I believe, one of the Rayman games, Mortal Kombat, I think. Which was, I think, the new Mortal Kombat at the time, so that was pretty big, as well as one of the Sherlock Holmes games, and a couple of other things, including Dark. So I avoided Mortal Kombat and Rayman, and I'm not sure why I did at the time, but I think I dodged a bullet because shortly after everyone jumped on those games, there was also a subsequent wave of account bans. So a whole load of people, or it seemed like a whole load at the time, it was very noisy on TA, were complaining that their accounts had been permanently shut down by Microsoft, and they were...
If I'm not mistaken, it wasn't just account bans, they bricked consoles.
Right.
And I know this because an old console of mine that I did not have, the person whom had it downloaded these games, and that console wound up bricked.
Wow.
Does not connect to Xbox Live anymore.
Amazing.
So it's fine if you want to play offline or watch a DVD, but that console does not do what it's intended to do. It won't connect to Xbox Live anymore after the Oman incident.
Yeah, well, it was quite shady at the time because when that happened, a few people were like, it's got to just be more than that. You've got to have done some other dodgy stuff for them to make those kind of actions.
Didn't seem that way.
People were saying, but look, people were, I think people were saying, well, I think it must have been Rayman or Mortal Kombat that was the real thing.
Yeah.
And I managed to avoid those. Meantime, I got Dark, Sherlock Holmes, and a couple of the others. I have actually since purchased them because I got a little bit scared.
The guilt.
Yeah, and also, I didn't want to tempt fate. So I did buy them recently. I picked up Dark. It's a very rare sale game, but it came up in sale sometime last year, I think. So I finally got it then legitimately, so I could go back to it. So yeah, that's the saga of how I got those, and anyone around at the time probably remembers those dark days.
Very well.
Yes.
Oh, nicely done, and good pronunciation on dark. Well done.
I'm getting there. Slowly learning the language. Okay, so I actually first played the game back when I got it in 2013. But yeah, I was kind of worried, so I just put it in the never play pile until suddenly I was able to get it on sale. And it really didn't ever come back up on the backlog until now. So this really gave me the excuse to go back to it. And when I did, I was fully expecting that I would be able to pick up my progress where I left off, which was maybe a couple of chapters in. And would you just know it? No save file.
Oh.
I know. And what's the weird thing is that when I loaded it up, the chapters were available. So chapter 1, 2, and 3 were available as though I had done them, but it actually hadn't saved any of the actual progress on those chapters. So it's like the game knew what I'd done, but none of the specifics. No stats, no progress meter, nothing.
Oh, no.
So it was very weird and a bit frustrating. And I'm somebody who keeps the saves, right? Keeps them hanging around no matter what. So I have no idea what had happened. The console swallowed up the saves along with everything else. But anyway.
I've had that happen too, like in switching between three. Like kids today, to sound old, will never understand what it's like to just lose a save in a console transfer with all this stuff being on the cloud.
Yeah.
And never having to think about that, never losing your PlayStation memory card at a friend's house and losing all the game data you had. But I've definitely experienced that too. Like my my BioShock save, my Assassin's Creed save, they're just gone. Like I've always transferred everything, but they're just not there anymore.
And to tell you the truth,
it's really
unfortunate. Happened to me recently. So I loaded up Sniper Elite on the 1, which is the backwards compatible game. And the first thing it did was it said, "Oh, where did you last play this game?"
Oh,
okay.
No.
And I was like, well, what's that trying to do? And I said, well, I think I played it on the 1 last. And I was fine. Okay. Selected that, loaded up the game, no save. In saying where I last played the game, it decided to wipe out any data that it held from the 360.
Right. Because it's basically saying, oh, so you're saying this is the most current save file, right? And if that save file is got nothing, then that's what you get. I've had that happen too.
Terrible.
It's very, very frustrating.
Anyway, back to Dark. So many tangents. So you
had to start from the beginning.
I didn't have to start from the beginning. I took a risk. So I told you the chapters were available. So I just loaded up the most recent chapter, the latest chapter, which I think was 3, and carried on, hoping it would be okay. And the reason why I was hoping it would be okay was because there were some achievements tied to earning a certain amount of points to unlock a load of abilities, and I wasn't 100% certain if I'd be able to do that without having all of the points that I previously had because I'd lost my save. But I'll get to that. So Dark is a stealth game, mainly. You play as a recently turned vampire who spends his time sneaking around various facilities and buildings, trying to find out why he is a vampire. And there's also some conspiracy nonsense. There's like a whole cabal of vampires, groups.
Did he wake up in Mexico and was wondering why he was a vampire with his face all banged up?
Pretty much, actually. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens. There is some hunters, vampire hunters. It's all really, really generic, really, really tropey. It's like a mix of every 90s vampire movie you can think of, Blade, the lot. And mostly it is a kind of a standard stealth game where you're using cover to hide from guards who are just following the same kind of basic paths. But because you're a vampire, you get extra superpowers. So by sneaking around and killing people sneakily and finding collectibles, you get XP, and you can use that XP to unlock powers. And those powers are pretty cool. A lot of them are pretty rubbish, actually. There's like powers for distracting and confusing enemies and all the kind of boring stuff. But there are basically 2 powers that once you've unlocked them and upgraded them, you can use them throughout the whole game. You can just spam them, basically. So one is Shadow Leap, which allows you to teleport. Basically, you can just hop around the map from cover to cover without having to worry about being seen at all. And the other one is Shadow Grip, which is pretty much the most overpowered thing in the whole game. So what you can do is with Shadow Grip is from a distance, you can lock onto an enemy and then basically strangle the life out of him without even having to go anywhere near him. And then when he dies, his body vanishes.
Whoa.
So
that's like the super version of a force choke.
Exactly. It's amazing.
Yeah,
and
sure.
in a stealth game, that's essential, especially because this is one of those stealth games where not only can you be spotted killing people and being seen, but if you leave a body lying around in the wrong place, it will get spotted and the alarms will go off. So you have to spend, if you're playing the game normally, you have to spend a whole load of time dragging bodies around, trying to hide them in dark corners, hoping no one sees them. But not if you're using Shadow Grip.
What if they what if they see it? Like, if they see somebody just vanish after being choked to death, they don't get alarmed?
Yeah. So the trick is to watch someone's path, maybe distract him a little bit, lure him off away from his colleagues, and then when he's out of sight, out of mind, do a sneaky shadow grip and he's gone. Poof, doesn't exist. It's like he was. It's like he was never there.
What if does he make like a popping noise when he disappears or anything? I mean, there's got to be like at least a suction noise as the universe
explodes into a cloud of black smoke.
Well, it seems like it'd be more of an implosion, would it not?
So I don't know exactly what you're doing there. They never really go into detail about these shadowy vampire powers and how they work. It's all a bit weird.
It seems like it'd be a wasteful vampire skill of you just vanishing your victims, because then, I mean, don't you need to feed upon them or something?
I am overstating it a little bit. So basically what you do in the game is you find someone, get them away from everyone else, feed on them, and then once you've fed on them, you earn blood. And the blood is what you spend to use your powers. So basically, you just alternate between feeding, shadow gripping, feeding, shadow gripping, feeding, shadow gripping throughout the whole game. And that's pretty much it.
The enemies are finite, right? They don't regenerate. Like, so you'll see 3 guards walking in a path, and those are the 3 guards, or will they eventually replace the guards as you...
That's pretty much it. There is specific points in the level when you progress where you'll have cleared an area, and then you'll, I don't know, hack a computer or some stupid thing. And then once you've hacked the computer, the area will have refilled with guards as part of the story. And somehow all of the bodies you've left behind have also magically vanished because, that makes sense.
Is the main character 90s R&B singer Seal, or who? What's the main character?
I don't. It's so boring and generic. So I didn't even skip it. I paid attention. I paid attention to this game, but I played it a month ago, or a little over a month ago now, and I've forgotten. I have completely forgotten because it is so boring.
It's clearly,
and generic. His name is, I don't know.
Well, I looked it up.
Let's call him Victor.
I looked it up, and it was actually 90s R&B singer named Seal. I think that's who it is.
I did look up the name just so we have appropriate information, and his name is apparently Eric Bain.
There you go.
I don't know if that sounds familiar to you now that you've heard it, but that's what TA tells me it is.
Unmemorable, the whole thing. So, and the stealth stuff is okay. It's very, very basic, and I've mentioned before though that I have quite bad stick drift on my 360 controller, and there's nothing worse in a stealth game than having stick drift, because you're trying to get into cover, and you're like, okay, I'm hiding, I can't be seen. And then suddenly he just starts walking right into the guard's sights, and because he's just, the stick's drifting all over the place. So it was a little bit annoying in places because of that. But the whole thing is like a bad B-movie, basically. It's boring, it's tedious. The dialogue, the acting is just abysmal. It's like people just woke up and were speaking like they're half asleep for most of the dialogue. And it commits the worst sin.
A sleepy Artifacts Monday
It commits the worst sin for like an actiony, horror-y, vampire-y game in that it is boring. There is literally no interesting set pieces or cutscenes in between the levels. You're expecting, some kind of action to happen aside from all the stealthiness. Some explosions, some baddies doing nefarious things, but there's just none of it. It's just quite lazy in that respect.
Well, what about the other characters? I see there's a bunch of people that you're supposed to chase down or something. You have your good friend Tom, and you have Rose.
Yeah, so
Samantha.
You're kind of with this cabal of underground vampires who live in a nightclub. Of all places, because that's
where they all live.
Secretive and
that's what they do.
Subtle. And you have to make friends with some of them, and then what you're doing is you're chasing down some baddies who have something to do with why you're a vampire, and then at some point some vampire hunters turn up and they all get involved. It's a thing. It's just pretty abysmal from that perspective. The ending is a boss fight, but there's not even any combat in the boss fight. You just run around hacking a computer, and once you've hacked enough computers, the boss just dies.
Why are vampires running around hacking computers? I guess I didn't make that.
So I assume that Eric, I think, was that his name? I
Yes,
assume that
Eric.
Eric had some kind of hacking ability in his previous life, because he does spend most of his objectives involve getting to a computer of some sort and hacking it. Not very vampire.
Seems like he could use his. You should use his little Death Vulcan
Shadow grip
thing and learn how to type with it. Shadow grip, and use that to press proper keyboard
just turn it off and turn it back on again. Right, we've established that.
There we go.
Yeah,
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just one last thing on that is that it does employ cell shaded graphics, which is, I think, to make it kind of try and stand out graphically, and it's supposed to give it kind of a polish. But I see that as actually a cheap attempt to make something that looks actually very bland and generic and ugly something a little bit different. So I don't see that as a positive, really. I love this game. I don't know if you can tell.
Well, I see on TA you gave it 3 out of 5 stars, which is actually higher than the average rating of a 2.34. So you liked it more than the average person did on TA. But I'm curious as to whether or not you used the walkthrough that you found on TA at all, or if that's necessary. Like, can you just play the game on your own and get everything? Because even though I know it was stupid to ask Elroy if he used a walkthrough for Terminator, the game does only want you to get chapter-based achievements. Was there anything helpful for using a walkthrough, or did you not use one at all?
So there are a couple of things you've got to watch out for. The majority of the game, you don't have to worry about its story progression and cumulative stuff that comes fairly naturally if you just use your powers and whatnot. But there are 2 things to look out for. One is getting enough XP to fully power Eric. And unless you're careful, you might get to the end of the game not having enough XP, and then you would have to replay the whole thing, because there is no way of going back and doing that in a way that will allow you to kind of back progress.
Okay, you can't just grind experience, whatever you need.
Well, you can by using an exploit. So what you can do, and this is why the walkthrough is handy, because it points out these places to you. What you can do is you can find a section where if you were to die in a section and it would restart to the checkpoint, you lose that progress and you would lose that XP. But there's a segment in the game where you're having to sneak through a club or a bar or something like that. A bar, I think. But if you get spotted, the game restarts you back at the checkpoint, but technically it doesn't lose any of your progress because you haven't died. So what you can do is you can basically spam a collectible that's specifically hidden in that area and just keep collecting that collectible and getting seen and then restarting. And if you do that enough times, you can probably cover yourself with the XP. The other thing is that you have to get through a certain amount of segments, a certain amount of sections of the game without raising an alarm. You probably want to be doing that as much as possible anyway, because that's the best way of earning XP is once you do a section without raising an alarm, you get like thousands of XP points, and that really gives you a bump. But if you're worried that you haven't got enough, then again, there's another section in the game where you can basically just walk from one checkpoint to another, and that counts, and then just keep reloading that checkpoint without any hassle whatsoever. And then that gives you the cumulative one for getting through enough sections. So aside from those 2, you probably wouldn't need a walkthrough too much. But it's probably worth keeping those on hand just so you don't have to do a whole nother playthrough. Because it's about 10 hours, I'd say.
Just use it.
Now, the other question I have is, it seems like that one ability that the name just popped out of my head.
Shadow Grip.
It's pretty Shadow Grip. It's pretty game breaking in a way, right? Like it's the thing you need. How far into the game do you have to play before it's accessible to you?
Hardly any at all. You you basically have access to the full skill tree after the second chapter or so, and it's just where you want to spend your points as to how you and you have completely free reign to do so as you wish. So you could, if you've done the first 2 chapters completely sneakily, you would easily have enough skill points to dump straight into that skill and fully upgrade it, along with a few other useful things like moving without making any sound and being less noticeable, for instance. Combining those very early on would allow you to breeze through the game pretty easily.
Excellent.
And then you just pretty much spend the XP on the rest of the powers that you'll never use. Just to fully level up. But yeah, I started the month with 8 achievements, 360 gamer score, and I ended up with the full completion, 21 achievements.
Very nice.
1K,
well done.
1700 TA. So look, I've actually I realized I've sounded really negative about this game, and I did give it a 3. It is what I'm saying. It is very mediocre. It's very average. It has its fun moments, but it's a B movie. I'd probably put it alongside what Elroy was talking about with Terminator. I wouldn't seek it out. I wouldn't expect much from it. It's not horrible. It's just very meh. Meh.
You should write a review. Just put meh.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating to me because it could have been more, right? That it has the building blocks to be something quite fun and exciting and interesting. Not stealth isn't everyone's cup of tea, right? So that's going to put off people straight away. But if they'd spend a bit more time writing something that was a little bit more interesting, getting a few better voice actors in, and then having a few, like just a smattering of set pieces. Every few chapters having some interesting, cool set piece thing that happened, just to elevate it. I think then it could have been just that little bit better.
I'm sorry to hear that your vampire game sucked.
Oh. Well, hopefully what we have coming up next will be a little more enjoyable.
It won't be as big of mistake.
Oh, God.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to... No. Yeah, thanks for those terrible puns.
Shoot. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So that's everything. We have covered all the games we've played.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on and quickly talk through what we're planning on playing next. Michelle, why don't you start us off?
All right, so my goal for most of this has been to play games that are already on my tag and knock out some of that completion percentage gap that I'm missing between my current completion percentage and the never achievable 100%. But there are people who argue that your backlog should rightly include any game that you've purchased but have never placed on your tag because you bothered to spend the money. You own them. They're part of your backlog. So I've been cleaning up my apartment recently, and while I was cleaning, I found several unopened Xbox 360 games. I can't tell you why I have all of them. Some of them I know why, but I don't know why I have a second copy of Rock Revolution sealed in box. No idea. I've played that game, but I have one. Point is, I found 3 non-backwards compatible Xbox 360 games. So I'm going to ask the community to help me choose which one I'm going to go with next. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a picture of these 3 in Discord and only say, hey, listen to the podcast to find out why I posted this picture. And the reason I'm posting it is so you all can help me choose between these 3 games. So I'm going to start with you 2 and just real quick with just whatever's on the top of your head. Tell me which game you think I should try for the next outing of this segment. Up first is The Testament of Sherlock Holmes, which was one of those Oman games, right?
Yeah, that was the one, yeah.
Game of Thrones, or Air Conflict's Secret Wars.
Air Conflict? Secret Wars?
Yeah.
Okay, let me look at that.
And this is Game of Thrones, the RPG
Correct.
the
This is
Telltale.
not the Telltale.
So,
Oh, okay.
are you familiar with the Game of Thrones story and TV show and all
No.
that stuff? Ooh,
No.
Then I pick Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Just to really throw you in there.
Sounds good.
Secret Wars. I just want to see what that was.
It's a vehicular combat game.
Oh.
Aerial vehicular combat.
Huh.
It says here, it's 1939. The Second World War has broken out, and troops everywhere are arming themselves and preparing for battle on the ground and in the air. And, you apparently participate in these battles as a fighter pilot.
Man. That sounds dreadful, so I picked that one.
Okay. All right, so we got one vote for each of those. I'm going to post the picture in Discord, and once people hear this, they can let me know what they'd like me to try. I have no horse in this race, because I clearly wasn't interested enough in any of them that they've been in shrink wrap for 8 years. So, so that's what I'm going with.
Air Conflict has a walkthrough. So don't be a hero here.
All right. I won't, believe me.
Fantastic. Okay, Elroy, what are you looking at?
Well, I recently was preloading certain Namco games for certain contests that I am involved in, and I stumbled upon a game that I did not know existed, which was Splatterhouse. Now, for me, Splatterhouse was a game that was that I was introduced to during the TurboGrafx 16 days, and it was one of the coolest games that was on that console, and that was one of the coolest consoles there was. And if you're unfamiliar with it, it had like credit card size games that you slid in there, and then they actually had a mobile version of it where you could actually play the same games on a little, very tiny screen, but it was kind of like a successful Game Boy. Game Boy just played a bunch of crap games on it, but this actually played the games for the console, and so that was kind of cool. But anyway, that's how I knew Splatterhouse. And so I was playing this Namco museum, and apparently it was a crappy little side-scrolling platformer from back in the day, and I never even knew that existed. I did know, however, that there is a 360 game called Splatterhouse, and I have never played it, and I always have wanted to play it. And I actually have a copy that is sealed and has been sealed for a long time. And so I don't know if I guess I should open it at some point in my life, since I did, buy it. So it's a similar situation to what you got there. I don't know. It just kind of got shoved in the back, and I never really went back to it. So, but I think after playing this little crappy version of it on Namco, that I have a renewed interest in Splatterhouse, and so I want to take it for a spin and see what they did. So I'm very familiar with the middle portion of the story. I was just introduced to the origin of it, and so I want to see where the story went after this TurboGrafx 16 days. So there you have it.
Let me get this straight. For Scary Games Month, you decided to play Terminator. You played Terminator for Scary Games Month. And
those robots are trying to kill you,
for
Chewie.
non-scary games,
especially after dark.
Well, we never said these games had to be
Splatterhouse,
non-horror, to be fair.
No, it's good. Yeah.
But I take it you're choosing a completely non-horror game for your next entry in this series.
Yeah. So, last time I said I would do Fist of the North Star, and I have been chipping away at it, but I failed. I'm going to say I'm doing that again, because I will continue to chip away at it. But realistically, something else might slip in. So I will mention that thing that slips in is looking like it could be Dust, an Elysian Tale. Which is I
liked Dust a lot.
Yeah,
really good game.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have said great things about it. It's got a nearly 4-star rating on TA. I don't
know that we're allowed to pick quality games for this segment.
I feel bad because
I feel like lately we've sort of made our niche in not so quality games.
There's been a lot of trash. I do feel like maybe we need to turn that around. It's a Metroidvania, so I know people are going to be interested to hear about that. And I have made 3 separate attempts at this game in 2014, 16, and 17. So I feel like really I should get back around to it and finishing off. So I'm going to say Fist of the North Star officially, but it's probably going to be Dust.
I actually had the same experience with Dust. I had like 3 or 4 false starts on it before finally really committing to it. And then when I did, I finished the game within like a week and a half. So maybe there's just something at the beginning that doesn't hook you quite right away, but the game gets there and it's well worth your time.
I feel like every time I've gone to it, it's been for one of these silly contesty challengey type things. So I've been using it for that. But I just want to get it done. And it suits me for December, which is in CCC, the backlog blitz, because I started it 6 years ago and it's got, 24 achievements in it that I need to get. So that would suit me quite well.
But it's only worth 400 points, man. What are you doing?
Cleaning up the backlog.
Yep. Got to purge. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me. I had a blast. I really missed you guys, I have to say. You know, it's been some time.
It's been a long time.
Let's make it a bit quicker next time. But well,
yes, absolutely.
Maybe next year. Let's be realistic here.
Truth.
Yeah. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed Back to Back, the segment where we are now 2 generations behind officially. How exciting is that?
It's super exciting.
And we shall continue to do so for the indefinite future, while our 360s are still chugging along alongside our 1s and our Series X's. I've been Chewy on Ice.
I'm supposed to be talking to ourselves.
And I'm here. Kill me. I'm here. Kill me. What are you waiting for?
Okay, it's over. That's it. That's the end. We're done.
It's done. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I'll be back. Ha! You did not gonna say that, did you?
That's what you always say.
Nippon Marathon! Run away. Try to find another day.
Hello, I'm Waka Pale, welcoming you to Waka's Weird Wonders, this time with the emphasis on weird. I played plenty of odd games, but Nippon Marathon leans into the crazy more than any other game I've played. Nippon Marathon is a physics-based running game with some pretty wonky physics. The main mode sees you running across an alternate reality Japan with 3 other contestants, avoiding obstacles and picking up Mario Kart-like power-ups to hurl at your opponents. You can also eat them for short speed boost. The power-ups, that is, not the opponents. There is also 2 multiplayer modes, which you can play using one controller. There's a bowling mode, where you hurl yourself down a bowling lane in a shopping cart, and the lobster mode, seeing who can get furthest in a randomly generated course, or just surpass 200 meters to get the associated achievement. The gameplay is physics-driven, but very unpredictable, adding another layer of madness to the game. In fact, half the game is rather broken. Even the in-engine cutscenes behave very strange sometimes as the physics spaz out. The score system is bizarre, where being the first to cross the finish line does not mean you won, as you are also scored by other metrics, such as popularity or lack thereof. The graphics, music and voice acting is very inconsistent, and the AI has great trouble navigating certain parts of the levels, frequently getting stuck into walls or behaving strangely. Even the camera sometimes stops working as intended and strays from the path or stops showing those in the lead. It also crashed once or twice while I was playing it. Production values are not great. It sometimes feels like the runners and cameraman had a bit too much to drink before the contest started, and the cutscenes frequently fall apart in ways I do not think was intended. While most technical issues are somewhat amusing, some of them are just bad. Load times are longer than they should be on the original one. They are way faster on the X though. Sometimes crossing the finish line never registers, forcing you to restart the race, and the game crashed once on me while skipping the credits. With the many issues, why would you play the game aside from gamerscore, which is neither fast nor high value? It's simple. Nippon Marathon is fun. Granted, it will likely outstay its welcome after a few hours, but those first few hours when you're trying to figure out what is going on is great, if you can stomach the completely outlandish tone of the game. The story mode features 4 characters with intertwined storylines, which are incredibly bizarre. There's Darwin, a man dressed as a lobster working on rebuilding his family's lobster farm after it was struck by a comet and killed the rest of his family. Elizabeth is a marine biologist dressed as a narwhal attempting to save the ocean. Senbei is a retired male schizophrenic debt collector who half the time believes he is a young schoolgirl. Finally, there is Snuguru Maestro, a human-dog hybrid attempting to start a dating agency. These characters meet and befriend each other while competing in the Nippon Marathon, uncovering one of the dumbest conspiracies I've come across. Despite how batshit crazy the storylines are, they somehow make sense, even if they are very warped. Getting through your first character storyline takes around 2 hours, watching the story bits, but subsequent characters goes faster as you can skip sequences you've already seen, or you can simply choose to skip all of them. While a bit time consuming, the completion is estimated at 8 to 10 hours on TA for 1000 gamer score and 2000 TA. It is very easy apart from the bowling and lobster achievements, but they shouldn't pose too much trouble. The collectibles might be a pain, but as you have to play through each level at least 5 times, they shouldn't be an issue, and you can easily pinpoint the ones you are missing using a guide. If you're interested in something very different and don't mind seeing the bubblegum and duct tape holding it all together, Nippon Marathon is a fun choice. Have a nice day, everyone!